Through those bushes is my brand new car. It's a 2008 BMW 3 Series and it's the cheapest one that I could find. There are a couple issues, but are you ready to see it? In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Boom, a 4-door saloon E90 BMW 3 Series. So I've decided to stick with BMW. Will that be a good move? I'm not entirely sure. This car has got 2 major issues and I'm quite nervous about both of them. But there's so much good about this car. I want to show you guys everything. So let's get stuck in. The big thing then, what engine is in my car? Well, it is a 320D, meaning we've obviously got a 2-litre diesel in there. It is the N47. If any of you know much about BMW, that engine's slightly unreliable for timing chain issues. We'll get onto that in a little bit. So I got this car for a really good deal. I'll tell you later in the video how much I actually paid, but this is an M Sport one. As you can see, we've got the M Sport badge just along the side here, above the side indicator. We've got M Sport front bumpers, M Sport rear bumpers. We've also got the M Sport shift knob. We've also got the M Sport steering wheel. And I believe this car might be lowered already because I don't think M Sport suspension is this low, this low stop. I guess we'll just find that out later down the line, won't we? For any of you that might have guessed if the car's black, you would be wrong. This is actually a midnight blue metallic paint. It looks gorgeous. Does need a slight clean though, especially on the inside. Let me show you that in a second. But is a very nice shade of blue. The heartbeat of the car then, like I said, is an M47 2-litre diesel, but the 2 issues, surprisingly, are both here. The timing chain rattles ever so slightly, especially when the car is cold. When driving, it's rattly. So we're gonna have to get that changed, which is completely fine with me. And the turbo, I think the fins on the inside are slightly loose, so we're gonna need to get it refurbed. Oh, we'll get the turbo refurbed, which is not too bad. But those are the 2 issues. That's really about it. Other than that, this car is completely mint. Oh, and once I've got the issues sorted with the engine, there's so much we can do here. So I think that timing chain is going to be one of the main things we focus on. This is a really good spec 3 Series as well. There's quite a lot of add-ons in here, and all in all, they are some of the things that I would look for when buying a car. So inside them, we've got cruise control, which is amazing, especially when going down the motorway. We've got an infotainment system for a 2008 car that's actually really good. We've got built-in navigation, which is also excellent. And that, well, I need to get a new CD for because it didn't come with one, but that's completely fine. With this being an M Sport, we've also got all the M Sport trims, all the nice metal ones. They look really, really good and they feel really good. Like I was saying, we've got the M Sport steering wheel, the M Sport shift knob, and the front seats are also the upgraded sport seats, which are really nice. They really hug you in, and they've also got the inflation, which blows the side of them up. But as you can see, the car is absolutely filthy and needs a huge clean, and that's the exact same story in the back seats. Now, we have got a TV in there, you should have to ignore that at the moment, but the back seats are also leather, which is really nice. But as you can see, there's Dorito on the floor. There's a literal Dorito. This car is completely and utterly filthy. I think that's the first thing I'm gonna do to this car is clean it because it's quite unhygienic in there. So I said, let's get the car back home and let's get cleaning it. Leave your thoughts on it down below. I absolutely love this car. There's so much we can do here. It's a really good baseline. Now we're back, we can finally start cleaning the inside of this car. I promise you, it's absolutely filthy. I'm gonna give you some like before shots now, and then clean it and show you some afters. Let's get our hands dirty, let's get the car clean.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
difference a simple clean can make. The car looked awful beforehand, and now the leather's been brought back to life and looks so much better in there. Big thank you to Joe and to my girlfriend. They both helped me clean the car out. It really does look so much better now. There's some disgusting things in here like bottles, half-drank bottles of like Fanta and fruit shoots, dog treats, loads of dog treats, Dorito, bread. It was absolutely disgusting. We've got all of it out and now it actually looks like a usable car. Oh, and smells really good too. That's right then, it's time we give this car a service. It's not been done in around about 10,000 miles. I know it's maybe about 15,000 mile intervals, but with it being a diesel, the more frequently you do it, you're pretty much gonna help the engine life. And it sounds a little bit chuggy, so we're gonna get this service done. Hopefully it'll sound a little bit smoother afterwards. To start off then, we're gonna change this air filter to a brand new one. I picked up one from Whole Foods for, it was about £14 I want to say in the end, so not massively too expensive. And the old one, it's not in terrible condition, but actually, yeah, it's a little bit dirty. Good job of changing this. So looking at them side by side, you can see the old one is filthy and does indeed need a change. This new one's really nice and clean. It's not very difficult either to do. You just pop off all of the poppers like I just did, slide this one out, slide this one back in, and all done. We will be changing this though to performance one down the line, just not yet. Yeah, air filter all done, brand new one in there, lovely. There's the car jacked up then. I know I might not be able to get every single last drop of oil out of the engine, but it is warm. Well, at least it was warm. It might be a little bit cold now, but the oil should be nice and thin to get out. We've now got to take off the little cap where it's basically on the tray, it's a little plastic cap. That then reveals to us where the drain plug on the sump is. That is a 17mm socket. So we're gonna get the tray in underneath, take off that drain plug, get all the oil out, then top it back up afterwards. So let's get cracking. There, that is the oil pretty much all drained out now. Really easy and straightforward that was. As soon as you take the plug off though, you've got to make sure you keep the tray you're basically allowing it to pour into as close as possible. I've managed to get none on the drive so far. That's my famous last words. I'll probably get all of it on the drive now when I pull that out. But yeah, now that's drained, we're going to put the plug back on in a minute and then pour the new oil back into the top of the engine. And then obviously we've got I think there's a dipstick on these diesel engines, so I might be able to dipstick to check it, but obviously I can check it when the engine's running and warm through the dash. One thing to remember though before pouring the new oil back in is to put the drain plug back on. Now on these BMW engines, I believe it's 25 Newton meters. So I'm going to do it up to that tight and then pour in the oil. If you don't do it, you'll just pour your oil straight through the engine, out through the bottom. So remember to put the drain plug back on. There, the car's now back down. The last thing we want to change to finish off the service is take off this oil filter here. Now I've already cracked it. This was a 32mm socket. And then if you unscrew it, there is the old oil filter. Ooh, that is filthy. As expected then, this filter is completely filthy. It is covered in oil, as you can see, disgustingly dirty. The new one over here in this spot, almost just got all of that oil everywhere. Got to wait to get rid of that. But in here, there's a new one. It looks, well, brand new. Look at that. Obviously, it should be looking like that very, very soon as the oil goes through it. But let's get this one back in. And that's the last bit of the service done. Oil filter changed, air filter changed, and oil itself changed. Hopefully the engine should be a little bit smoother now. Just gotta put the engine cover back on, give that a bit of a clean first, and then we're all done here. So there's my engine bay all clean there. My car's looking so much better on the inside and down here in the engine bay. It really looks so much cleaner now. and it's really starting to feel like my own car. There's such a good baseline here. There's so much that we can do. Just gotta look forward to it now. Last week, I revealed to you lot this car right here, my BMW 3 Series. And when I did, I informed you that she had a pretty big problem with the timing chain being slightly rattly and the engine possibly on the way out.
Brother, ew. What's that?
But in the past week, we've had it in, we've had the timing chain done, and we've had so much other work done to it as well. And it's now running as smoothly as it could possibly be. I was also told that the engine is extremely clean. For 118,000 miles, I think I've got a good one here. But as we all know, the engine is only about 50% of the car. You've still got so much other things going on in there. So this week, I'm only going to do a few cosmetic things. I've got a few things to fix inside the car, and I've got a few things I also want to put on the outside of the car. I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy with the engine just yet, because I want to let the timing chain settle properly, and I also need to get the turbo refurbished. But once that's done, this engine is not going to be stocked for very long. The time is currently 20 to 5 on Saturday. This video comes out tomorrow, which is for Sunday. The reason why I'm filming so late this week is because I've got another video coming out, hopefully either tomorrow or Tuesday, on this dash cam right here, which I've been reviewing for a company. And like I said, that video should come out in the next couple of days. The reason I told you the time though is because in an hour or so, I've got some extra bits coming. So whilst I'm waiting for them, I'm going to start cracking on with the cup holder, because this one right here, as you can see, does not come out. You've got to pull it out. I believe the spring for it is come off. It should go like that, but does not. So we're going to take this plastic trim piece off here. Then I believe it's 2 bolts. So just hold them in either side like that, and I can take them out, and then we'll fix them. To pop the panel off, I'm going to take a trim removal tool, just kind of stick it in behind and pop this forward. Now I think there should be a few clips that it is held on by, and that is correct, and that comes straight off. That's quite easy. Looks like it's been taken out before because it's missing a few bits here, and should be clipped in with these as well. But for now, it's just these 4 bolts along here. I should be able to take the cup holders out. As you can see, this one, oh, yeah, it does come out, but yeah, I think the springs just come off of it. So these bolts are just crossheads. They shouldn't be too difficult to take out. Nah, you're gonna do them just like this. And yeah, they should just pull out. Those cup holders should now. And there we go, just like that, that pulls out. And yeah, it's, well, it doesn't look like the spring's even in there, so that is not a good thing, because the spring is meant to be in here, which basically controls how this moves backwards and forwards. Hopefully it's not falling into the dash anywhere. So I have just taken out the passenger side one. Going to use this one as a reference and also give it a clean. So let's go take the driver's side one apart and figure out how to fix it. Now the cup holder is held together by some clips. You can see them just along the edges here. You can see them. They're on both sides. If you lift them up, this should come in half. I'm going to use my trim removal tool. I'm just going to pry these backwards slowly, making sure not to snap them. There we go then. That is that panel there taken off. That was quite easy. Snapped none of the clips. Just got to be careful and take it slow. Now, as you can see, as I pull this out, the gear is in there. That's the little gear. It runs along this here. But the spring, don't know if you can see that. The spring sits just in here. Let's see if I can take it out. This is the spring here. This long bit here. This is what allows this to be pushed in and then pulled back out. And it basically has come loose. I think it's meant to be sat somehow through maybe this hole just along the bottom here, so that when this is pressed in, like, so when you press it in like that, this then comes out, but we need to find a way to put that back in. So to get this spring back into place, it sits just up behind here. It's quite difficult to show you. There, if I get the light just there, you see that little slot? It sits in there. So we're gonna have to take the cup holder out to be able to access it. And to do that, there's these 2 clips here. You see those 2? If we stick something underneath there and underneath there to lift them up, this should pull out. Just be careful once again to not snap anything. So there you go, that is now the cup holder removed. I had to take out this little gear here, which sits in that hole just there, and that lines up with these serrated bits along here. But now it's time to get the spring back in, which sits in that slot just about there. So the spring here sits in that little slot down there, but it's snapped for me, so I'm gonna have to put a zip tie around the outside of this here and zip tie it on the outside here, so that when I do push it all the way back, it will hold and it won't just fall straight back in like it did before. So now I've got that little spring put back on. Thank you to my girlfriend. She really wanted a shout out for that, so thank you to her. Now to test this out, we're gonna push the cup holder back on. It should slot straight on like that. And then, if this has been done right, this should hopefully go back on. It might be a bit difficult, but, ow. There we go, and then push it. Look at that, we've got a working cup holder. No way, that actually works. Fantastic. As you can see, it's quite difficult actually, but that is just being held on there. We're gonna have to cut the end of that zip tie off. But just to smooth the action ever so slightly, we're gonna put this gear back in, which slots into that hole there, as you can see. So we push that into place. And there we go, there is a cup holder working. That is a pretty good fix because that wasn't even working earlier. And now, boom. Perfect, that is a really easy fix. Let's snip that off and get this back in the car. Now putting this back in is the exact same way we took it out. If we just slide it into position, might need to wiggle it around ever so slightly just to get it in correctly. But once it's in and lined up, let's just make sure it works. Yeah, it's working all right. So we can now put the 2 screws in and then we'll be done. And lastly, if we pop this piece back on, just like so, there we go. That is now these cup holders, both working, both back in. It looks fantastic, that does. What an easy and quick fix. If you've got a problem like this, it's very straightforward. I recommend you give it a go yourself. It is literally, well, it's taking me about 45 minutes, but if you know what you're doing, it's about a 10-minute job, if that. So the parts that I've been waiting for took 3 hours in the end, not 1. And it is quite late now. It's getting on about 8:30. Doesn't stop me though. So here's what I've got. We got some brand new smoked indicators. If you know my 1 Series, this was the very first thing I did to it. Pretty much gonna be the same for the 3 Series as well. We've also got some M-style mirror caps. These two should take roughly about half an hour to fit. They're really straightforward and they just make the car look a little bit better. It's up to you though, whether you like them or not. I know the M mirror caps are black and my car's a really dark blue, so it might look slightly weird, but we're gonna get these on right now, so let's get going. I'm gonna start with the indicators first, as I feel like they're quite straightforward. These are the exact same ones that I had on my BMW 1 Series, so I should know how to take these out and put the new ones back in. Should be really straightforward. You should be able to push it, I think, forward. Then if you get a trim removal tool and lift up one of the sides, I can't remember which side it is though. There we go, just like that. They pop straight out of the car, and you just got to basically take this bit apart right here. Once that's been removed off the old indicator and the bulb's been taken out, this bit here for the brand new one slots into there just like so, from what I believe, from what I remember, sorry. And then these wires here sit over the pins just inside the new indicator. So one goes on like that, and then the other one as well. And now I'm just going to test to make sure that's working before putting it all back together, even though it takes about 2 minutes to do. There we go. Wonderful, that is working just fine. We'll push this back in and do the exact same to the other side. now we're going to work on these mirror caps, and as I've already removed some like this before, this shouldn't be too difficult. There's clips to hold it on the top and on the bottom, and yeah, you just keep prying it off until this comes off. There we go, man. That mirror cap is now off. That was really, really easy. Now, I've actually got an issue with this mirror here. Every time I lock and unlock the car, the mirror goes to its like lowest position possible. It'll either be facing all the way to the ground or all the way to the sky, and I always have to adjust it every time I get in the car. It's probably something to do with this motor here on the back. The electrics might be a little bit funky, so I'm gonna give this a quick look over, see if I can notice anything strange, and then put the new mirror cap straight back on. Well, I bought the wrong mirror caps. I bought ones that are pre-facelift, and my car is pre-facelift, but they've sent me facelifted ones, and it's got the squared off edges, and this is just completely round the whole way. It is the wrong one, and this video goes out tomorrow on Sunday. Right now it's Saturday about, what is it? It's 8:45 roughly. So I'm gonna try and order some brand new ones, and hopefully they come in time tomorrow so I can fit them before England are on, and I can actually get the video out in time. That's really, really frustrating because I've been scammed basically. I bought literally what I thought would fit my car, like it said, and it doesn't. What a joke. We'll catch back with you in tomorrow, hopefully. The next day. It's now Sunday, and in this box are finally the correct mirror caps. Let's get those horrible ones off, get these brand new ones on. And there we go, that was really, really easy. These look so much nicer than what we had before, and they actually fit perfectly because they're the right shape. So let's get the other side on, and I've got one last thing I also ordered that I want to put on the car as well. There we go then, both of those mirror caps are on, and the car looks pretty nice now actually. A little bit more aggressive from the front. Definitely looks a lot better. I think maybe we'll get some of those M Sport front grills to put on eventually, but have got one last thing. This car was basically missing all of its hubcaps to go over where obviously the air fills up the tyre. So I bought some brand new ones to put over the top. They're not your standard ones, they're a little bit different. I'll show you them quickly. They're these little BMW ones just down here. The reason why I've gone for these is because they just look kind of cool. So like I said, I got these because I was missing the hubcaps on 3 of the wheels. The only one that had it was actually this rear right one just here. So I'm going to take this off, replace it with that nice BMW one. And yeah, then we'll have what looks like some pretty cool hubcaps or dust caps, whatever you want to call them. Actually, if that's a hubcap, that's a dust cap. I've been calling them wrong this whole time, but there we go. That is the last dust cap on. It's all 4 of the wheels with them on now, giving it that extra little BMW touch. I think I need to explain myself just a little bit. The timing chain on my car is completely fine. When I explained to you guys that the timing chain on my car was slightly rattly, I was not lying. I just haven't explained myself well enough. Last week, my car went into the garage and the timing chain was replaced, along with a pulley and some other bits and bobs here and there. And therefore my engine went from sounding like this to now sounding like this. Pretty damn smooth if you ask me. So I hope that's cleared a few things up. My engine is fine, it is healthy, but obviously we need to get the turbo done. You guys just have to bear with me at the moment because I don't earn massive amounts of money and it was quite expensive to get the timing chain and that lot done. So just bear with me. Some more interesting things will be coming soon, just some little cheap bits at the moment. But as you guys should know, I do read every single one of your comments. I try to reply to every single one as well. And the dust caps that I put on, I didn't know this, but because they're metal, they'll seize on. I guess it does make sense. So I'm going to take them off, put a little bit of grease on the inside, screw them back on quickly, and then we won't have to worry about that, fingers crossed. So I don't actually own any copper grease, which I know is probably the thing that I should be using right now, but I do have instead some like lithium grease, whatever this actually is. But I'm just going to dab a little bit of this on the inside of the dust caps, and then when I do a thread up, the thread should pull this grease through, and then they shouldn't seize on. We'll do that to all 4, and then we'll move on to the next thing today. that's all 4 of these now nicely greased up. Hopefully they won't seize on. Last week then, if you remember, we installed these mirror caps right here, the lovely looking M style or M3 style mirror caps. They look pretty nice, and we also did these indicators here, which also look quite nice. Now, there's one other thing that I want to do. It's basically like a little generic BMW mod, I guess you could say, especially for these sort of generation of BMWs. And that is changing these front grills to the twin slat looking M Sport style ones. This shouldn't be too difficult because the eyebrows, that's what I'm going to call them, these parts of the grills are held on by 3 bolts, as you can see. One there, and another one there. So if we take all 3 of them off, these bits should just pull straight off from the top of the bumper. You can bolt the new ones on, and then it'll just be a job of getting these ones off after. This is gonna be a little bit difficult to show because this is as high as my tripod can get, but to get these 3 off, it's a T25. And as you can see, these are some very, very tiny bolts. So with all 3 off, we should be able to just take this out now. There we go. That is that little piece there removed. It's a little bit dirty under here, but we'll get the new one and we'll bolt it straight back on. So this is the new eyebrow for my car. It's just a black plastic one, no more metal ones. This looks quite nice though. It's glossy, so it should match with the mirror caps. First thing I'm going to do though is line the dowels up into place, just like so. It's going to be a little bit difficult because obviously the shape of the bumper is going to want to bend ever so slightly. But we're going to start by getting the first bolt in with fingers and just get it nipped up ever so slightly. And then once done that, I'll do the other side just to hold both ends down. And there we go, that is the new eyebrow installed. That looks quite a lot nicer. It's just going to kill off obviously all of this kind of chromey look on the front. We'll get this one on quickly and then we'll actually start on the proper grills themselves. And that is both of those eyebrows on. That actually looks really, really nice. It's already such an upgrade from what we had before. Tuning, that's like 10 extra horsepower if you ask me. So to finish off the look, I've got these, which are obviously the twin slatted grills, and they'll go on right underneath the eyebrows. These are the eyes, they're what, the nostrils. It's gonna be looking a little bit like that afterwards. That looks pretty nice and aggressive if you ask me. Gonna have to find a way to get these out because obviously they're on clips, and if you remember my 1 series, it actually snapped the clips when when taking them out. So I'm gonna have to try and work a little bit more carefully this time, and maybe think about what I'm doing to try and not snap the clips so these actually sit in properly. So the way I'm going to attack this at first is just giving it some light pulling pressure. See if I can pull any of the clips out. Just, there we go, like that. If I could do that all the way along, might be able to get these out like that. There we go. That was quite a bit easier than what I thought. There we go. That was really straightforward actually, a lot easier than the 1 series. This is filthy back here. Bloody cobwebs for days. It is disgusting. But let's put this in. Hopefully I've not damaged anything, and hopefully it just goes in nicely. Oh yeah, that's in properly this time. That isn't going anywhere, and that isn't loose like the other one was. Yes, you can see the clips on the bottom, but that looks so much nicer. Let's do this side and then we'll have a look afterwards. Well, a first proper look afterwards anyway, because this is going to look mean. Oh, yes. That is so much better than what we had before. Look at this. I'm over the moon with that. That looks so nice. And this is on properly. This isn't gonna be loose like it was before. Like, I can properly pull on these and they ain't going anywhere. Whereas on the 1 Series, I could pull like that and it'll come out. Oh my God, I'm so happy with this. Honestly, that looks so nice. Yeah, that I really, really like. Now, there are some more things I need to do to the front end. Like the front bumper is not, it's not in the best of conditions, basically. It's got a split along the bottom of it. Let me show you. As you can see, this part of the front bumper here is hanging off. And as you can see, I'm constantly scratching the bottom of this because the car is a little bit too low. I would like to fix this at some point if I can. That's not gonna be easy because I have no experience really with working with bodywork, but I'm gonna hopefully at some point attempt to take the bumper off, try and fix that, maybe with a bit of fiberglass and some filler, and then put it back on. But I've got some plans to put some new headlights on the front of the car eventually. Like I said, I'm really struggling with money at the moment. You just gotta bear with me. But I'm gonna hopefully get some new headlights. And then I want to raise the car up a little bit because the front is really low and the front tires are really, really skinny. But I wanna get some new wheels before I put on some new tires and some new suspension. And then once I've done all of that, I eventually want to get a splitter kit to put onto the car and I think it'll look awesome. That's just my ideas at the moment. Let me know what you guys think of that down below. But I'm thinking of getting some 19-inch spoked wheels that aren't twin like this, that are 10 all the way around. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you get the idea, I think I want to go for some silver wheels. I think that'll look really, really nice. That's just my idea of the car. I've got some other things that I want to do right now though, so let's crack on with them. That's a brief idea of what I've got for this. So the last thing I'm also gonna do today is take off the rear badge. The reason I'm gonna do it is it just makes the rear of the car look a little bit smoother, and having no badge on the other side, it looks a little bit out of place here. So we're gonna take this off with the heat gun and a trim removal tool, and then put some glue remover on afterwards to hopefully get rid of the rest of the glue. And then we'll have a lovely looking rear end. Let's get going. So that is the rear badge taken off, and that's some glue remover put on top of it. What I'm gonna do now is take this rough kind of cloth here, and hopefully if I wipe this off, the majority of that has come off. There are some tiny, tiny little bits left. I'm sure that will all come off with a polish. Doesn't actually look too bad, to be fair. There are just some thicker bits around the edges, which would come off with a little bit of elbow grease, I'm sure of it. That looks pretty good. I'll polish it up at some point as well, and then that'll look really, really nice. And now today then, I've got 3 different things to do to the interior of my 3 Series. I've got new car mats, puddle lights. I've also got some lights to change on the interior. I've got some LED ones. Hopefully it'll just spruce up the interior, make it feel a little bit more up to date and fresh. And to start with, I'm gonna work on the puddle lights. I've got ones that I can project the BMW logo instead of just being a plain and basic light. They're really easy to fit, so let's get going, get them off. So the puddle lights are located on the underneath of my 2 front doors. They're really easy to pop out, as you've seen. You get a trim removal tool, you pop them out, and then it's just one little electrical connector, which I'm sure if you pop out just like that, comes out with the bulb. We're gonna be replacing this with the new one. So the ones I've got, I need to remove the bulb, and then we're gonna be replacing this with a cable that's gonna be running into the puddle light. It's pretty much the exact same concept as when I did my indicators, but these ones I've got here are proper, really nice quality ones. I can't remember the website I got them from. I'll leave links to them in the description. They do loads of things for all types of car brands. But as I said, the cable here will go into this end. There we go, that's that connected. So now I also had to remove the bit that houses the bulb, because as you can see, the 2 pins just on the end there sit into these little holes right here. And I believe if I just push this in quickly, so, just like that. If I now try and lock and unlock the car, it's working. Look at that. It's the wrong way around, so I'm gonna have to get the other one that'll go here, because obviously it's, I'm gonna project it probably that way. But that is gonna look so cool when it's dark outside. That is a very nice, tasteful mod. Let's get the other one on instead of this one. We'll get it back in, we'll do it to the other side. Oh, and here's a before and after as well. So those puddle lights make such a difference, but they're not the only lights we're going to be changing today, as I have got these LEDs up here, and they change every bulb inside of the car. So we've got ones down here in the footwell, another one over there, and we've got multiple up here, a light just up there for the mirror. And then some more lights in the back. These shouldn't be too difficult to install. They should just be bits you can pull out with a trim removal tool and then just replace the bulbs with these LEDs. So the first one I'm going to start off with is the one behind the sun visor. And like I said, just take a trim removal tool. If I just pop this down, it shouldn't be too difficult to get down. There we go. You pop that out. If I turn it around, as you can see, there's the bulb. And I'll just replace that with an LED, push it back in, and then it should be all done. And there we go, the new LED is installed. What I now need to do is just push this back up into place, just like so, making sure to get the headliner behind you. And there we go, that is one LED installed. So let's just test to see if these work. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that's really good. Look at the difference. This is really nice. The whole car is gonna be looking amazing once we've got all of these done. Just on that side over there as well. Let's just check this side's working. It is fantastic. I am really happy with them. They look amazing. Let's carry on. Let's get the rest of these finished. So now with both of these done, I'm gonna do a little bit of prep work up here to get this little dome piece out at the top. I'm gonna first pop off both of these sun visors off to the side. And then if I take this little cover off here, it's on just like a very small clip. Just like so, there we go. There is a tiny bolt just under there. I'm gonna take both of these off, and this should allow the front of the headliner to come loose so I can pop this whole piece out. So that was really easy. Like I said, it was held on by these two clips at the back. Now the three bulbs are just these three here. If I twist and pull, they come straight out. I'll replace these with the LEDs, and I'll do the exact same in reverse, put them back in, just push and twist, and that's what holds them in. So here's the new LED put onto the little light connector. If we can slide that in, put it on an angle, press the button, and boom, there we go. That is that one done. Do that to the other side now, then we'll focus on the middle one after. There we go then. That is both of these lights done. They look really good. We're now going to do the last one, which is the middle one, which is very hot because it's been on this whole time. So we're going to work carefully this one and try not to burn myself. It's the exact same thing like the other two. Twist it and pull it out. And then you're just going to pull the bulb out, put it straight back in, and we'll get this on. And there we go, that's the lineup finished. All three LEDs installed here. No more horrible yellow lights, lovely white LEDs. They look fantastic. Let's get these footwells done, and then we'll do this exact same piece in the back seat. I think that's all of the lights then. And that is my headliner now back together. That was quite an easy job, just getting these front ones in. The footwell lights were the exact same principle. Just pop off the plastic cover, take out the housing, replace the bulb with the LED, and put it all back together. Super easy. The rear dome light is the exact same as the front dome light. You just pull off the plastic covers that hold the bulbs in, replace them with the LEDs, and then put it all back together again. It's so easy and simple. So that is all of the interior lights now changed over, and what a difference they have made. Every single one of them is going to play their part, especially when it gets darker. Those LEDs really do shine. And I think that's just a nice, tasteful aesthetic to have now, because the car is a little bit more up to date. It feels a bit more premium, you could say, especially for a 2008 car. It was definitely needed. And there's one more thing that I'm going to do to kind of go along with that feeling up to date sort of premium flow, and that is some brand new car mats. So here inside the back seats, I've got these car mats here, which are tailor-made by carmats4u.com. I've got these, obviously, as you can see, with some BMW stitching, which look really nice. Also, as part of my specification, I went for some quite deep carpet. So this is really nice, thick carpet that will replace these horrible old looking, outdated ones. These aren't gonna take very long to get in, obviously, because they're just replacing the other ones. But we're also gonna hoover at the same time, just to make it look a little bit cleaner inside. Let's get these car mats in. These are gonna look fantastic. So let's get hoovering. So there's the mats now installed. I actually feel really nervous about getting in my car now because I don't want to put my feet on the mats and make them dirty, because these are really, really pretty. That sounds weird, but these look really nice. I love the blue and red accents because it just kind of matches up with the BMW M Sporty type stuff. And there's more of that coming for the interior. We're not done in here just yet, but this looks amazing. I'm so happy with this. So I'm going to leave some links for car mats for you down in the description. If you guys want to get yourself some, like I said, they are completely tailor-made. They are custom to yourself. There's so many options. You can create your own car mats. They look amazing. I'm so happy with these. So let me know what you think down below of everything I've done this week. I think the interior of the car really feels a lot more up to date now with the LED lights. There's really nice puddle lights, and now these car mats, it's kind of taking it from being a little bit dull to looking really fresh and upbeat. But I'm not done on the interior. I've also decided that I'm going to get myself a new steering wheel at some point with the flat bottom and then the Alcantara and stuff like that. That will all start to match up with the mats. I'm going to get more in here that's kind of M Sport looking, so it's got the red and blue stitching. It will all start to match up and tie together eventually, but for now I'm really happy with these mats. So we're going to be replacing my CCC iDrive, as I said. So all it is just this little piece here in the center console, which spins, presses in, moves up, down, left and right, has a menu button, and it controls this screen up here. There's not really much going on. You can connect a phone, you can connect aux, which is done through the inside of the armrest in here, but it's really outdated. Like I say, my car's 16 years old. It could really do with being brought up to date with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and that's exactly what we're gonna be putting in today. So to start off, we're gonna pry off this metal panel that goes all the way along the dash. I'm gonna pry it off from the outside of the passenger door to start with. Now what I'm going to do is remove the electrical connectors that sit on the back. There is one underneath the two vents under here and one under the start-stop button, and that's the last one that I know of. So now with that removed, just remember that these two wires here are obviously for your vents, and then this one here is for your start-stop button. You don't want to lose them and accidentally plug the wrong thing into the wrong area. So I'm now going to remove this little piece here for my auto AC, and then we're going to unplug all of these again. This one and this one, if you push down this bit here, if you actually push down the actual electrical connector, and then there's like a clip that goes over the top. If you push it down, like I said, this will be able to move back, and it should push the electrical connector out. There we go, just like that. And that's your auto AC removed. Just don't forget which way these went in. They are color coded luckily, so you shouldn't get it wrong, but just be careful. Now luckily I've got the manual, so I'm gonna put it into I'm gonna put it into 6th gear to try and keep the stick as far away as possible, because now what we need to do is remove this panel just below here and then take the CD player out. If you've got the automatic, you might have to remove the gear stick, but luckily with us manual guys, we can just bring it all the way back and hopefully it will keep itself out of the way. Now to remove this CD player, there's two screws that are holding it in on the bottom left and bottom right, and then there's like two pins that are just going through holes on the top. I have seen online as well that normally it's held on by 4, so I'm guessing that just depends on whether it's facelifted or not, or like what model car you have. But if I take these two screws out, I should be able to take this CD player straight out of here. And there it comes, straight out of here. And now there's a load of cables on the back which need to be removed. And then we can start put it, well, and then we can actually take off this screen and start putting the new one back in. And there we go, with all the cables now taken off the back, we can take out the iDrive system up here and finally put the new one back in. So the iDrive is just held in by two T10 bolts on the top. These shouldn't be too difficult to get out. There we go. Now the two of them removed, I should be able to just lower that down and pull it forward ever so slightly. And now there's a couple electrical connectors again to remove on the back. And there we go. That is the old iDrive system removed. This thing is so outdated. It's really scratched up and it's also starting to get a little bit of mist in as well. But with this now removed, the dash in pieces, that only took about 20 minutes. It's quite crazy just to see how cars are put together. It's quite easy, really, when you put in these sorts of things, when you're taking these sorts of things out and putting them back together, but it's probably a little bit more difficult getting the iDrive in because it's not a stock system and it may throw up a few annoying things here and there. Now it's time for the fun bit. We've got to route all the cables into place and then get the screen back in. I've already routed the main cable in, which goes right now up and then through the side of the through the side here, straight up and then up into the dash here. So that will be plugging into the back of the screen. Next, I want to put this in, and I think I'm going to put it in somewhere hidden down along here and route it up through the side of the center console and then up and into the back here again. I think I'm going to do the same with the internet one, try and hide it somewhere down here, maybe on the driver's side and then up into the back of the screen. Hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult to route them in because I've been able to touch my fingers from the inside of the dash and the outside of the footwell basically, so I should be able to get the wires through and then hopefully get them installed. These extras here are the GPS antenna and the Wi-Fi antenna. So if I kind of stick this up out the way where I'm not going to be able to see it and then route the cable all the way up through, hopefully it should leave us not even noticing it's there but still being able to use it. There we go, that is the cable now routed from here, going down and then up and in through here. I'm now going to bring this, like I did with this one, up through the side and then out through the top again. With the internet cable now hidden behind the cup holder, you'll never see it because it's hidden just down here. And then with the GPS antenna hidden down here in the footwell, I think it's time to get the screen in, and get these on the back of the screen, and get these cables tucked up and hidden somewhere because they're rather long. They might be a little bit irritating. If I try to get the screen in, they may get in the way. So here on the back of the screen, we've got the 4G antenna just here. And if I put this on and then just screw it down, that will hold in this cable just like so. There we go. And then down here on the bottom one, this is obviously where our GPS goes in. This should just push down and clip on, and that is our GPS one now on as well. So there's two more cables to put on the back, with the one that comes up from the CD player, which bolts or connects into the back just like so. There we go, that's him. And then last of all, we've got the power cable, and that one's in too. So with all the cables now tidied up, it's time to try and get this into place. So if we just kind of wiggle it back ever so slightly, try and lift it up. So now I have a bit of struggle just getting the screen in at the moment. So instead what I'm going to do is put everything back together first and then do the screen last. So first of all, I'm going to put the CD back in. There's the CD player back in. Now what I'm going to do is route this cable back up into place, and then we'll get this bottom piece back on as well. that is the bottom section all put back together. Now I just need to get the auto AC back in. So I've just put all of the center console back together. I've just turned on the ignition to check the screen and it is working. It looks pretty good. We have got maps and everything. Oh, I'll have to blur this out because it's showing where I live, but that is pretty cool. That is working. Apple CarPlay's working. I've got contacts. I've got messages. This is pretty cool. Have I got Spotify working? Let's check.
The galaxy's darkest corners on the Acolyte. Firing up the drama in the new season of FX's The Bear, or solving true crime mystery.
Well, we've got speakers, that's working. This is really, really nice. Only problem is, hang on a minute. Oh my God. So we tried this out just a minute ago and the center console of the CCI drive bit here in the middle was not working. And all of a sudden, it started to work. Oh my Lord, this is awesome. This is amazing. I'm so happy with this, oh my God. This is wicked. Oh, it's actually working. This is so cool. We'll have to go through this properly in a little bit, but I am so happy that this has started to work. I've just got to find a way to be able to get back onto Apple CarPlay because we had that open just a minute ago, but I pressed the home button and now it's disappeared. Oh, there we go, there's Apple CarPlay. Oh my God. This is so cool. Oh, it's working. But for now, we're gonna have to unplug everything and leave it as it is so we can put this in properly. So let's get this screen in 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Everything is now back together and the screen is in. It's actually been a couple of days now since I last recorded on the screen. I've been using it, testing it and driving around with it. And it is absolutely fantastic. There's voice control. So if I wanted to say something like, hey Siri, he then appears and we can ask him to send us to a destination or anything like that. It's absolutely fantastic. Look at this. It looks quality and we've got this lovely little peel tab to take off. Oh, well, the screen protector was meant to come off of this, but it has not come off. That's fine, we'll keep the screen protector on. It'll keep the screen actually in decent condition. This screen is fantastic. I've kept my steering wheel controls. I kept the CCC iDrive controls so I can still control the screen from the center console. Obviously I can talk to it, it's touchscreen. It's everything that I've really been wanting because that old screen was just really outdated. I had no maps, the music had to be played through the aux, it's now Bluetooth. I've got Apple CarPlay. It is just fantastic. It's probably brought the interior up to date and it just feels a lot more modern. There's still a handful of things I want to do to the interior to bring it back up to date and make it look new again. But as many of you probably know, the BMWs of this age have got terrible rubber on the interior. Like, look at the cup holders here, how all of it is peeling away. This sort of plastic trim, it all looks horrendous, especially on the door handles, and that follows into the back seats as well. So in this bag right here is a brand new door handle that I'm going to be putting onto the passenger side of my car, because as I just shown you, it is completely chewed up and eaten away. It looks absolutely awful. It's not very nice to grip, especially when you're trying to close the door. It just doesn't look nice. We're going to be changing this, which requires a door card to be taken off, and then hopefully once that's done, it will look a lot better and definitely look new again. So to take this door card off, first I need to take off the door handle trim, and then I also need to take off this M Sport trim. It goes all the way from the front to the back of the card. That is it. That is literally it. How did that just come off?
Just fell.
So there we go then, that is a door card removed. That was really easy, just 4 bolts and clips. That was all that was holding that on. And now we've got to take off these 4 pins just here. We're gonna use this heat gun to heat them up because they're only plastic. And then we should be able to pull the old door handle back off, and then the new one's got washers, which will create the same sort of surface area. And then we can bolt the new one back on, and then we should have that brand new door handle on the car. So let's get that heat gun on and get that old one off. Look at the state of that. That is awful. So there we go, that is now the old door handle off. This is the new one here. So basically what I'm gonna do is flip the door card over. So now this lines up into that hole up there, and then these holes down here. And then all I need to do is bolt it on from the bottom through those 2 holes there and those 2 holes there. And then I should be able to put this all back together and back in the car. And there we go, that is the door card put back on with the brand new door handle. That looks really, really good now. Makes the interior just look a little bit more up to date, definitely looks newer. I want to do the same with possibly the cup holders and this bit of trim along here, because they look a bit out of date and a bit old. Despite my BMW 3 Series, it's safe to say the modifications I've done so far, I've given it a bit of a chavvy Poundland look. Well, that's what my haters say. And you know what? That got me thinking, what is there that I can do to really improve the chavvy Poundland look to my car? And I guess I could say it's exactly what's inspired this week's video. So now that we're all caught up and we know what I've done to my car, I'm gonna leave my modification until last today because I've got a few things that I want to do first, like an issue that I've been having ever since I bought the car. I believe it's relatively common on these BMW 3 Series, especially these of this age. And that's the mirror likes to go all the way up and all the way down whenever I unlock or lock the car. Let me show you. So as you can see, I've got the door wide open. I'll even show you that the car's unlocked because that's up, and it's the same with everything else in the car. But as soon as I go and try to press the unlock button again, watch the mirror. It moves completely by itself. I have no clue why that happens. Every time I get in the car, I have to readjust it. But I think I know the issue. I'm gonna give a go at fixing it. So first thing I'm gonna need to do is pop the mirror out. Now, I'm not actually quite sure how this comes out. I believe it's just held on by a few clips on the back, but I don't really want to smash the glass. And that's exactly what I've done. Well, I'm going to need a new mirror. That is kind of annoying, but oh well, things happen, right? Well, I got the mirror off, but at a cost. It is now completely shattered. It was kind of like a yellowy tinted one though, which I've never quite seen before. So I was gonna change it at some point anyway, because I'm not quite a fan of it. I wanted a normal mirror. But yeah, that's definitely going to need replacing now because that is completely smashed. So now with the mirror off, and I need to take out this tiny little T10 bolt just in here. Thankfully though, I have got a solution to my mirror problem, and Whole Foods, they have got a mirror in stock. I'm very glad that they do, so I can go down and get one of them before they shut tonight. But yeah, let's just get this little bolt out now so I can get the motor away from the mirror. And now the screw moved, should be able to just pop this out forward, just like so. And that's the motor removed. Next thing we're going to do is so carefully remove these clips from the inside of here and take this back panel off of this. And there we go, and that now reveals these electrical pins here. And we're gonna basically take a little bit of sandpaper to them, scratch them up, make them a little bit rough, and then coat them in a very thin layer of dielectric grease. And then hopefully that should fix the issue. Well, I've seen online that fixes the issue. Take that with a pinch of salt. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, then there might be some sort of problem laying within the actual electrical wires themselves. So like I said, just take a little bit of sandpaper and we're just gonna basically scratch up these little electrical pins. Not much though, just make them a little bit rough. And there we go, that is the little pins nicely scratched up with a bit of sandpaper. Now we're going to take the tiniest little bit of silicone dielectric paste lubricant basically, and we're going to just try and get a very, very thin layer on all of these pins. You don't need much, just a tiny amount. As all we're trying to do is just put a small bit of lubricant on them so that they aren't going to get corroded together or anything like that. Just a tiny little bit. There we go. That is a little bit of dielectric paste added. Let's put this all back together and see if this has fixed the issue. So I've got the mirror back together. Let's see if it's working. No. I didn't think it would work, and clearly it hasn't. That's annoying. So I actually have no clue what the issue could be. I've read online that apparently with the spare key you can almost reset like the car, and then everything like the radio will be reset, the mirrors will be reset, everything like that. I might give that a go at some point, but I didn't have any hope that would work, and it did not. We're just gonna have to try and figure out something else, but that's annoying. So we may have failed miserably with fixing the mirror, but here in this box is my next Chavy Poundland modification. So like I said then at the start of the video, I took inspiration from a hate comment of the Chavy Poundland look with my car. I gone and got myself some wind deflectors to just add to it, and probably to rattle a few of you guys even more. But more on a real note, I'm glad I've got wind deflectors, because when it's warm weather like it is in the UK at the moment, but it's a little bit windy, it's difficult to have the window down whilst it's windy. So having these allows the window down to allow some cold air into the car whilst it's really hot. So then that saves me having to use the AC, which doesn't really use the motor and will not waste my AC gas. So when I got these Formula 1 series, they didn't take very long at all to put on, probably 5 minutes max, and they're gonna take 5 minutes again, really easy. There's little sticky tabs that are on them. They sit up on the inside of the seal on the window, and there's a few clips that go up in there just to hold them in place. Once done that, they're all done. So the first thing I've done is roll down the window, which gives you a little bit more space to work with. And then we're just going to try and push the wind deflector itself up in behind where the window sits, and then bend it on top to then push the rest of this in, hopefully. So with this now in place, I'm going to take these clips here, and you see these little sharp bits here. They need to sit facing the inside of the car so they hook onto the in a rubber trim, and push this and hold it in place. So the easiest way that I find to do this is to take the clip, take a card, and you literally use my Costa card, you put it on the card, push it roughly into place where you want it to be. I'd say somewhere around about there. And then you push that up into place, just like that. It'll hook onto the inside rubber piece, push the wind deflector out, hold it in place. And there we go, just like that. That is one deflector installed on my driver's side door. That is well in, and that is not going anywhere. Looks pretty cool too. I don't mind the look of a wind deflector, but I'm now going to do that to my other 3 windows really quickly. So let's get all 3 of those wind deflectors on and have a look at the car afterwards. There it is. That is all the wind deflectors put on. That did not take long at all, like I said it wouldn't. What do we think now? Have we got the Chavy Poundland look? I'm thinking we've got the Chavy Timu look. Even worse. But no, I actually don't mind the look of these. I think it looks pretty nice on the car. What do you think? Let me know down below. If you don't like them, that's fair enough. I mean, wind deflectors are 50-50 of a lot of people. To be fair, I may end up taking them off at some point because the windows don't go up properly. They want to come back down, but that is just a normal issue. So there we have it then. That is the wind deflectors now installed. But there is one thing I want to talk about, and we hit 1,000 subscribers today, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. All 1,000, I think 13 of you at the moment. I am so thankful for every single one of you who've hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate all of you. Really making dreams come true over here. But this is only the beginning. I really want to stress that, because right now what I've got is not where I want to be. So I'm going to work my absolute socks off to try and get the best cars I can possibly get on my channel to either build, possibly rebuild, modify, whatever it is, and show you guys. But as a thank you for 1,000 subs, next week I'm gonna do a pretty special video because I'm gonna splash a little bit of cash and get a very, very tasteful modification for my car, which I think all of you will actually appreciate. If I was to give you a little bit of a hint, there's 4 of them. They're down here on each corner of the car. Is it wheels? Is it suspension? What is it? Whatever you think it is, leave it down below. But there is one thing that has been heavily requested in the comments for all of my videos recently, and that is to polish up my headlights and get rid of this horrible yellowness and bring them back to looking almost stock and brand new again. So I've gone and picked myself up one of these, a headlight restoration kit. They've got different grit levels, which I think you attach onto some sort of bit for a drill, and then you can go over, polish the lights up. I think there's also a polish in here, as well as a sealer or like a ceramic coating to cover the lights after they've been done. But it's getting quite late and it's getting dark, so we're gonna do this tomorrow, but that'll be right now for you. And just like that, it is a new day. The weather is immaculate today, actually. Really, really, really nice. Good weather to try and polish up these headlights. What do you think? Give them a clean, and we'll get some tape around all the parts of the paintwork that we don't want to scratch up. We'll get polishing. So I've just covered up everything around the headlight. I'm leaving just the headlight exposed. So what I'm gonna do is use this kit here. It's a Holt's headlight restoration kit. We've got different grits of sandpaper. We've got 800, 1500, 2000, 3000. I'll use the sandpaper on here to start with. And then we've got a polishing paste, which I'm gonna put on afterwards. And then finally a protective coating on afterwards. And hopefully it won't be yellow and it will look nice and clear and almost brand new again. It's the next day yet again. I was busy last night, so I couldn't finish the headlight, but this morning so far, I've managed to go from 800 to 1000, 1500, and now 3000 grit sandpaper. This is really, really smooth. Next thing we need to do is go with polish and a microfiber cloth to wipe this in, hopefully giving the headlights a nice shine, and then finally put a protective coat on. And then when we've done that, we should have one finished polished headlight. Hopefully that is anyway. Let's get this polish on, and fingers crossed it all goes to plan. And we are done. That is my driver's side headlight complete. I must say, on the passenger side, it's a little bit of yellowing. You can see like all of these kind of marks and everything. On this side, there's not much yellowing now. It's definitely clearer headlight, but it's not really improved it at all. It is nowhere near as shiny as what the passenger side is, and you can really tell because you look at the actual back of the headlights there, it's a little bit misty, and on here you can see it's nice and shiny. That's not a huge issue for me, so we'll be changing the headlights a little bit further down the line, so I'm not too bothered that that hasn't gone as planned. But if you have any tips on how I could have done that differently, please let me know down below. All help is appreciated. So just before we wrap up this week, earlier in the video I obviously said next week is a pretty special video. We've got 4 things that we can be changing on the corner of the car. But earlier this morning that thing came in. I'm going to show you in just a second, so get your guesses in down below. I'll give you 5 seconds to do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope your guesses are down below. But what we've picked up is a set of brand new coilovers. The reason being is my ones right now, well, my shock absorbers right now are leaking oil and they're in pretty bad shape. But here we've got some lovely green and gold coilovers to fit next week. It's time to change my suspension and make my 3 Series handle like a track car. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? I promised this at the end of last week's video, and here we are this week, gonna be installing some coilovers onto my 3 Series, and like I said, hopefully making it handle just like a track car. Now, there is actually good reason as to why I'm doing this. I'm not just doing it because coilovers. I'm actually doing this because the suspension on my car, and more specifically, my shock absorbers are absolutely shot. They are so completely dead. They do no absorption, and it's so uncomfortable to drive this car. And I know you might be saying, well, why don't you just get new shock absorbers? what is the fun in that, in all honesty? You might as well just go all out and get some pretty cool suspension. It's exactly what I've done. So I don't want to spend too much time waffling this week. I just want to get these on the car because I'm so excited for how this is going to handle. Hopefully loads better than what it does at the moment. Before I do that, I'm going to quickly go on a drive and show you what it is like before, because it is so horrible. Going over bumps is just horrendous. So let's get in the car, quickly go on a drive. That doesn't sound good. Oh my God. So I just want to take you guys on this drive really quick, just to show you kind of what it's like to drive the car at the moment. It is really unsettled. The suspension's not great. It's very, very firm. There is just no shock absorption at all. It's awful. So the way I'm going to go now, I'm not actually going to take you on a bumpy road on purpose. I'm actually popping to Holford's, and this is the quickest way to Holford's. Just listen to the car down here. So uncomfortable. Oh Christ, there was one. And again. It's just so uncomfortable. You feel all the shock through your body, and the car takes none of it. And we've arrived at Holford's. I need to go get some copper grease real quick, so we'll be back in just a second. And there we go. That is my trip to Holford's now done. We've picked up some copper grease and something for next week's video, because I got something cool coming out next week, a new car on the channel, that is. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm not getting rid of this one, don't worry about that. I'm keeping this car. There's just going to be a second car along with this one, hopefully to just keep the content fresh, especially when things get more expensive now and I'm having to wait for parts. A new car is definitely a good idea. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Jesus. So that is what it's like to drive this car. It's horribly painful, to be honest, but now we're back. Let's get to work. Let's get this brand new suspension on. Well, there you go. That's what it's like to drive my car. Pretty uncomfortable, as I keep saying. But here in this box are the brand new coilovers. We've gone for red and gold, green and gold look. And these look so freaking cool. We've got adjustable drop links as well. Obviously, we've got like adjustable threads there to adjust the height of the spring, so we can obviously, as I keep saying, adjust how the car sits. But in this box here is a little gift that I believe they send out with every single one of their sets. And I was right, in this box here is a coilover keychain. Look at how cool that is. Now seeing that gets me so excited. So let's get this car up in the air, let's get it on jack stands and get these rear wheels off. I cannot wait to get this on the car. Let's go. There we go then, the 3 Series is now up in the air. The next thing we're going to need to do, I think, is clear out the boot. At the moment, I've got all my tools and bits and bobs in here, and the reason why is because we're going to need to access the top mount up here for the old shock absorber, so we can take it off and get that loose. But before we do that, I'm so glad I'm actually doing this job, because as you can see down there, it's quite difficult to pick up. There's literally a crack on the lower top mount down there for the shock absorber, and that'll obviously be one of the reasons as to why the car is driving and handling so poor at the moment. So let's clear all of this out in 3, 2, 1, labash. And there we go, the boot is now clear. We now need to take out all of this, so I think we're going to start off taking out the bottom mat here, and then the side panels should all come out because they're not really held in by anything. Like you can look along here, they're quite loose, and I think the top mount should be sat somewhere around here. I'm hoping so. We're just going to wing it and hope for the best. There we have it then, that is the boot stripped out. That was such an easy job. Anyone can do that pretty much. It was just clips, like 3 bolts, and that was it. Now, under these covers is where our top mounts will be sitting. So as you can see, there's that bolt just there, or this little Allen key or reverse Allen key here sticking out. If you want to do either one of them, doesn't really matter. That will remove the top mount from our shock absorber, which is obviously down here. So we're going to do that next, and then we should be able to start working on the outside of the car. So what I've got here is a pass-through socket on a wrench, and what we're going to do is hold the top up here, as we're going to do down here, and then there we go. So I've just taken these off, and oh, these are so past their use by date. They are in awful condition. They're even in 2 pieces. They just don't look good at all. I am so glad I'm going to be changing these, because I'm changing these as well as all the top mounts on the car and the bump stops. So eventually this car is going to be night and day difference to how it is right now. So now back onto the tasteful bit, don't fall over. So what we need to do now is it's difficult to see. So there's that little bolt down there and there's another one just there. On the outside, just under there it is. I believe that is a reverse female Torx. I think it's a 14E. We're gonna try and get that off, and one on the other side, just over here. And that should be the shock absorber completely loose then, and we'll be able to drop the lower arm after that and take that out along with the spring. There we go then, that is now the shock absorber completely free. I might be able to pull this down and out the car, but I think I'm gonna lower this arm first to be able to do it, or otherwise it might just be a little bit too tight, and obviously we've got to lower that anyway to take the spring out. So to do that, we need to crack this nut here, and we've got to hold it from the bolt on the other side. That is such a tight bolt, and it's gonna be very difficult to get off, but we sprayed a bunch of WD-40 in there. Hopefully it will do the trick. We have finally got that arm off. That took far too long. The bolt was so seized in. We had to try heat WD-40. We tried using we tried all my breaker bars. We tried everything. And finally we got it off. We had to take this arm off as well just to get the bolt out, as you can see. But we've got it off. We could finally drop this, take the spring out, take the old shock absorber out, and finally put the new ones back in. Get in. So it's actually getting quite late now. It's so late actually that I've got some tea. Look at this, we've got a lovely noodle pot with some salt and pepper beef, sweet and sour chicken. Lovely combination, but everything is such a mess. Everything's so corroded together and it's taken forever. It took us so long to drop that arm off, but we've finally got the spring out and we've got the shock absorber out. This is the state of the old top mount. Look at that. That is absolutely shocking. This was the old bump stop and this was the old shock absorber. And there's a spring. I believe these are lowered and they still look in good condition, so I might be able to flog them off for a little bit of money back. But yeah, everything right now is an absolute mess. We've got some tea to scran, so we're gonna eat that. And then hopefully once we've done that, if it's light enough still, get this side back together. But that's just fingers crossed. But yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. All right, tea scran, that was absolutely delicious. We've now got this lower top mount to put back in. We're gonna put this in first, put on the 2 bolts, hold that on, and then we'll get the spring in afterwards and the shock absorber on last, and then hopefully get everything back together. But yeah, we'll start with that lower mount, we'll crack on. So the lower mount is now in, and what we need to do is set up this lot here that's going to be going back on basically. So we've got the new shock here, the old one here, as you can see, we've got like a rusted end on there. It is awful. So this has already got the bump stop in, which is a brand new bump stop anyway. It's very small. I don't know about that, but it's going to have to do for the moment. But there we go. That is obviously the new bump stop on. The next thing we're going to want to do is take the adjuster here for the spring. I'm going to want to line this in copper grease so that if we ever do come to obviously adjust it at some point, it will have copper grease on and it hopefully shouldn't seize. So we're going to do that now quickly. So now with it completely lined in copper grease, we're just going to thread the nut bit back on the bottom. And what I'm going to do is just thread it up until this bottom bit here is flush. So we're going to go for about there, I reckon. And the last thing we got is a brand new sort of top mount for the shock absorber that will sit obviously in the boot. The next day. So it is the next morning. It's a really bright and hot day today, but thank you to my dad and to my girlfriend, my dad especially, because I never shout him out and he always wants one. He's probably listening right now giggling. But we've managed to get this bottom arm back on, and we've also managed to get this arm, this side back on. It all looks really good in here now. Everything is together. We can now get the wheel back on. And we've also managed to put this side of the boot back together. So we're moving good this morning so far. There we go then, the wheel is back on. We're back together on that side. Next thing we're gonna do is time lapse doing this side. Hopefully it won't take as long. We've been drenching everything in some WD-40, so hopefully it should all be relatively loose. But the first thing I'm gonna do is take the shock absorber out and then the lower mount and then drop that arm, take the spring out and then put everything back in and back together. Hopefully this shouldn't take as long as last night. As it is all fresh up here in the brain, this shouldn't take too long, but we'll see what happens. Let's just crack on, get this done. So we're back together now on this side. As you can see, everything's back on, the wheel, all the shock absorber and obviously the spring. But when we did this side, we realized that we put the shock absorber assembly together wrong, and that goes for this side too. So we're gonna have to take the wheel back off and just take the top mount of the shock absorber off so we can just bring it out and change everything around. I'll explain exactly what we've done wrong as soon as we get the wheel off. Okay, so with the wheel off, we've now also removed the top mount up here again on the inside of the boot. Reason being is the build up here with all like the bits that absorb, well, the bump stops and the rubbery bits, we did that completely wrong. So we need to just pull the shock absorber down and out and then put the right assembly on and put that back together, and then we should actually be done. Here's what we went wrong with. This build up is not meant to look like this. So we're gonna take this little metal bar out. You take the cover for the lower guide mount out, and basically this lower guide mount here, this is meant to go through like that. And then the bump stop shouldn't look like this. And in fact, we're not gonna use these bump stops because this is tiny. Look at that bump stop, that is so small. But this is the bump stop we're gonna be using. It's quite a bit bigger. It might be too big, I'm not sure. As you can see, that's the size difference. Maybe we're meant to use this one because it came with this, but we are gonna use this one. So the first thing we're gonna do is put this cover on top, like that. And then the bump stop follows it on top. There we go. And then the next thing to go on is this like metal supporting plate. Sits on top like that for the bump stop. And then next is this lower guide support that goes on top, just like so. And then on top of that is this rubber sealing cover. And that is the build up for down here anyway. And then if we compress this, there we go. And then push that into position, that will go up. And it's almost in. Come on, you. Give in. There we go. And that is all in. And that's how we put this together properly. And now we need to just go put that top guide support on, do that up, and then put the wheel back on. Hi guys, we're now putting the top mount on. What we do is we take the nuts and we do it up. And then, when you get to a point where it gets too tight, you take a spanner. And then with the spanner, you do it up. But then you'll get to a point where it gets too tight again, and the actual piston on the shock absorber will want to turn as well. So this when you get the special tool. There we go, it's now wanting to turn. So what you do is you put the spanner on top. Then you take the special tool, you hold it with the special tool, and boom, you do it up, just like that. And that is how you do up a rear shock absorber on the BMW 3 Series E90. Bada bing, bada boom. So this now looking all nice and tight together. This does not want to go anywhere. Once we put the wheel on, there's some load under the car. This will sit just like that. So let's get the wheel back on. We should be able to lower this back down finally. Also, before we put these wheels back on, what do you guys think? Should we stick with these massive 19-inch rims, or do we go with something else? I'm not too sure myself, in all honesty. I'm not sure if I like the spoke design or if we want a different sort of design. So yeah, let me know down below whether we should stick with these wheels or go for something else. And there we have it. That is now both of the rears changed over. So hopefully now the rear of the car will handle a little bit better and be a little bit smoother over bumps, but we'll see. All those bump stops and mounts and everything were in such bad condition. I'm so glad we changed it all. But now to wrap all this up, we just got to put the boot back together and then we'll be all done. The boot is now back together. Next thing we need to do is jack up the rear differential again, take the jack stands out, bring the car down, and fingers crossed, it's all right. There we go then, the car's back down under its own weight. And to be fair, the fitment before, you know, the suspension settled, it looks all right, but I'm a little bit nervous it's gonna come a bit too low, but we'll see. We're gonna go on a test drive now. We're gonna go to Whole Foods, break one of our tools, get that exchange in and get something to eat. We'll see how it drives and then see what it's like after. So I'm gonna save the first drive for when we've actually got the full suspension on the car. But for now, I can tell you it feels a lot better and a lot different. And the fitment of the rear looks so nice now as well. I think we got that spot on with how we adjusted the adjuster obviously on top of the spring. It looks phenomenal. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this video is sponsored by Auxto Auto. My BMW 3 Series has had one small niggly issue ever since I bought it, but today I'm going to be finally addressing it and hopefully fixing it. So over the last 2 months of driving this car, the front speakers have been blown ever since I got it, which is slightly annoying for a music lover like me because I like to listen to my music in my car and I like good speaker quality. So right here in this box are some brand new Alpine, whichever one it is, speakers. They are the S2, S40 speakers, which I believe is a pretty good range of Alpine speakers. So we're going to be putting them on the car today, and fingers crossed, as long as there's no problems with the wiring, my speaker quality should be pretty good afterwards. But this car right here, my mum's VW Polo, will be on the channel soon because she's got an engine issue that I'm going to be trying to fix. So if you want to see that, hit the subscribe button down below and stay tuned. So before this door card comes off, I'm just going to show you what the speaker sounds like before, as it's really not very good at all. You'll be able to hear exactly why I'm changing it. So this right here is my microphone. Got some music playing in the background. What we're going to do is put it up to this speaker. And there's just no volume at all coming from this speaker. And it goes the same for the passenger side too. Fortunately for me, I actually know how to take these door cards off and access the speakers. It's like 3 bolts, I think. Yeah, something like 3 bolts and clips. That's literally it. And then the speakers are right there. So when it stops raining in just a second, we'll take this door card off, change the speaker over, and hopefully test to see if it's working afterwards. Okay, well, the weather's decided to start playing nice, which is just what we need. So what we need to do is take this trim panel off just here so we can take the door card off. We might have to work fast though because it could rain again, although it is blue skies outside now. So maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to get away with it if no rain. We're gonna try to work as fast as we can to get this done as quick as we can. Let's get moving. To start with, we'll remove the M Sport trim that just went straight across the door card. It was only held on by clips and just came off with a trim removal tool. So now with this bit of panel off, we need to take off that bolt in there, that one there, and then that one just in there. Just taking off those 3, the door card will come straight off the door. What he said, those 3 bolts were only T20s and they came out with minimal effort. So there we go, all 3 removed. We should be able to just give a light pull on this door card and it should hopefully come off a little bit. As my driver's side door doesn't have a door handle, it's a little bit more difficult to get the door card off. The easiest way I found to do is pulling around the edges, especially the top, because you can get your fingers in and properly pull it off. There we go. That is the door card removed. We've just got a bunch of electrical connectors, take off the back, and then we can drop the door card off. Exactly that. There was a speaker cable, one for the window regulator, and then there was also, I think, the latch for the door, and lastly the locking mechanism. But once all of that was taken off, the door card was free. And there we go, that is one door card completely free. As you can see, it's just 3 bolts here that hold on the speaker. Okay, so the space is tight, we're gonna work out of the boot. First thing we need to do is remove these 3 nuts that hold on the speaker, and then it should be able to come out. The 3 nuts run down with an 8mm socket and allow the speaker to just pop straight off. There we go, all 3 removed, and out comes the old speaker. As you can see, it's just an old stock speaker with like a fabric-y sort of, I forgot what this bit's called on the speaker now, to be honest, but yeah, it's just like a fabric-y, papery one. They're not great quality. Let me show you what we've got to replace this with. So in this box right here, some Alpine S2, S40 speakers, and these right here are top of the range Alpine speakers. They're gonna sound so good when they're in the car. So here's a tiny little unboxing just to show you exactly what it's like when you get these. Oh, this is some paperwork here. I'm guessing that's just talk about the speakers. Hopefully they're under this foam bit. Yes, they are. Look at them. They look absolutely quality. So here it is then, inside of this little bag. That is the Alpine coaxial speaker we're going to be replacing this with. This is made of some proper nice quality metals, and that's like a proper diamond mesh as well. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Look at that. It's like a diamond mesh on there. Oh, and that weighs like double the weight of this speaker. It's a little bit smaller, as you can see, but it comes with a tweeter in the middle, just like this one does, just a way better quality one again. I can't wait to get these in. This is not going to be too difficult of an install, because I believe I've got brackets to go with these, which is in that cardboard box just back there. So let's get those brackets on and try to get these installed. So I was right, in that cardboard box back there is a bracket kit as well as a wiring kit for these speakers, which I got off Dynamic Sounds. Now, I've used Dynamic Sounds before for the speakers in my Vauxhall Corsa. I got a kit exactly like this and they're completely reliable. I'll leave a load of links for them in the description down below if you want to get yourself a speaker kit for your car. I highly recommend them because they give you everything you need to put the speakers in without any hassle. So as you can see, the bracket will sit just behind the speaker like this. And these 3 slots here, here and here are going to be used to mount this onto the door card. So what's required to be mounted up was the bracket over the speaker, and then the 3 nuts is enough compression to hold the speaker and the bracket still. I'm hoping that will last. I mean, it feels absolutely solid. The speaker doesn't feel like it's got any movement to it, so that should be all right. Next thing you need to do is take this wiring adapter here and plug it onto the positive and negative terminals. And this here will be going into the OEM electrical connector on the door. There we go. Those 2 are now on. I'm just going to take some pliers and just crimp these here just to make sure they do stay on, because I don't want to risk them coming off, especially when driving along, so I don't want to have to take this door card back off again. And there we go. With both these crimped up, they won't be coming off anytime soon. Let's get this back on the car. Before putting the door card on properly, I wanted to test out the new speaker first, so I only hung it on a couple of clips to start with. After a little bit of playing with the door card, we've got it on loosely at the moment. I'm just going to try out the speaker and hopefully it works. It's working. That speaker is working. Right, we'll get this door card back together and then we'll do the other side too. And there we go, that has the door card back together. I'd never known this was in pieces just a minute ago. That looks fantastic. Really, really happy with these new speakers. So there we go, that's the front speakers changed, but I am now sponsored. Can you believe that? We've got a sponsor for the channel. Let me tell you a little bit about them. So who are Auxo Auto? Well, they're just a global supplier of car parts and essentials like I've got right here. So in that carry case is this portable tire inflator and car jump starter. This is just one product on their website. They have so many. I'll show you on screen right now all the sorts of things you can get, from obviously what I've got here being a tire inflator to things like interior light modifications and so much more. My standout product that they sell was obviously this tire inflator and car jump starter, not only because it's essential, but it also comes with a torch, and it also comes with USB plugins on the side because it is also a power bank at the same time. Not only this, but it's got a very user-friendly interface with just a few buttons which anybody can control. And with a very fast tire inflator, you can get a flat tire to a fully pumped up tire within 2 minutes. As I keep saying, this is an essential for anybody. So if you'd like to check out Auxo Auto, I'll leave a link to them down in the description. Use my discount code SamBryant to save yourself 15% off at checkout. But a huge thank you to Auxo Auto. You're the first sponsor of my channel and I cannot thank you enough. I am so proud of what I'm starting to build here. But I've got more things I'm going to be doing to the car, so let's get back to it. Thank you once again. Let's get on to the next thing we want to do. And I want to change these door handles, and you can clearly see why. I've already done it in the front. Just want to do it to the rears now because they're in such battered and horrible condition. It's not very difficult. Just have to take this trim panel off, the door handle off, and we can take the door card off after that. Let's get moving. I'll show you how to do it. Like mentioned then, we got to take this piece off right here, and it's not too difficult. It's just held on by 3 clips. You pry it forward and pull, and there we go. It comes out just like that. But all of these need replacing. They're in awful condition. Now the next thing I want to do is pry off the front of this door handle. It's not too difficult. The trim removal tool pops off just like that. This will be going in the bin. The next thing we need to do is take out the 3 bolts that hold this door card on, and then this will be free to be pulled off. Those 3 bolts came out really easy, and just like all the other door cards, they were T20s. So all 3 removed, what we're going to do is hold the main frame of the door and pull on the old handle, and slowly but surely that will come off. There we go, the door card is now dropped. Next thing we're going to do is take out the one electrical connector, which should just pull straight down for the window regulator. There we go, and then the latch of the door, which just unclips. And that is the door card now removed. So to get this door handle off, there's these two little plastic nipples here, and then those two up there. All we're going to do is just heat them up with a heat gun to melt them ever so slightly and pull the door handle through from the other side. When using the heat gun, I kept them moving side to side to make sure I did not burn the back of the door card, because it's quite easily done. So here's the state of the handle that I've obviously just taken off. You can see where it's literally been eaten by a dog or something that was in the back. That is in such bad condition, and I'm so glad I'm changing this right now. Like with pretty much anything I'm doing to the car at the moment, I'm so glad I'm changing it, because it's just awful. It's in awful condition. It's just going to make the car look newer again and feel nicer, for especially my passengers when they get in the back. Luckily for me, the new door handles didn't need to be plastic welded onto the back of the door card. It was just some bolts and washers, and that was enough to hold it on. Right, it's getting a little bit darker, but we've just put that door handle back on. And all we need to do now is put the door card back on, and it will be all done here. So to put the door card back on is the exact same as taking it off, just everything in reverse. So we've got the door card on. Look at that, it looks really, really good now. The door handle especially looks absolutely fantastic. I'm over the moon with that. Let's do the other side quickly. After doing a little bit of research, I found this is quite a common issue with the older BMW 3 Series. So I've left a link to these door handles down in the description if you would like to pick yourself up some for your own car. Look at the state of this that's just come off the car. That is disgusting. This is the new one. Looks way better. Look at that. That is horrible. Looks really bad. So whilst I'm putting my door back together, I'd love to hear what you guys are driving. Leave it down in the comments and I'll go through all of them. So there we go, that is the speakers and the door handles changed. Not much this week, but it's definitely a few tasteful things, especially the speakers. I'm really glad now that we've got some decent speaker quality in the car. It sounds so much better than what we had before. Not only that, but also two really nice door handles to replace our old horrible ones. The interior just starts to look a little bit newer again. I'm pretty happy about that. I am back from holiday and I'm not wasting any time at all. Let's get the front suspension finished on my 3 Series. If you guys remember, you'll know that I actually changed the rear suspension about a month ago or so on the channel. The fitment of the rear looks so nice now. I haven't even started the front suspension yet. As this video was meant to go out last week on Sunday, I actually did start trying to do my front suspension before I went on holiday, before making a pretty big costly mistake, which meant I had to push back all of my plans. The date is currently Monday the 2nd of September. I go away in 3 days time, and I've got the video you saw last week to edit on my mum's car. I've got this video to film and to edit in literally 3 evenings, because I work Monday to Friday 7 till 3, so we haven't got much time, and I'm just going off knowledge. So as we have literally no time to waste, you can see this front left shock absorber has been leaking quite a bit of oil and definitely needs changing, but we're going to do the same on both sides as we go along, so we don't waste any time at all. Let's just get to work and let's get this done as soon as we possibly can. Out here in the best possible weather, rain. Welcome to England. Oh, one more thing while we're trying to get the drop link off, which is the first thing that needs to be removed. This video is sponsored by Aux Tow. Thank you very much, guys. As I just mentioned then, the first thing I needed to take off was the drop link, but as I tried to do it, I found out the nuts were quite seized on, so I left it in the moment and tried to take off the track rod ends instead. So I used a 22mm socket to crack the nut until the bolt and the nut started spinning together on the ball joint. Next, I used a pass-through wrench and socket along with a 5mm Allen key to try and hold the bolt so I could undo the nut, not realising that the bolt's actually meant to be held with a T50 Torx. Therefore, I ended up stripping the inside of the bolt and not being able to get the nut off. And the exact same story goes for the other track rod end too. I should have just searched it up first. It is completely my fault. Well, there you go. We messed up the track rod ends, which are really frustrating because the bolts for them were so rusted, they just had no life left and they just fell apart and completely decayed on me. So I've gone to Eurocar Parts and I've bought these brand new optical track rod ends right here. And luckily, the track rod is in 2 pieces. You can see the thread just here, and this is the bit here that ended up going, obviously just up there. So we can take this pinch bolt off here and untwist these, and then we can take this off, obviously, once we've cut this nut in half. And if I want easier access to the front suspension, I'm gonna have to take those track rods off first. So we're gonna have to find a way to cut the nut in half, think an angle grinder will do that. So the nut that's just here is far away from anything else, which is really helpful because I should be able to get the angle grinder in there and not cut through, say, one of these control arms by accident. That's quite helpful. So before we take off that nut with an angle grinder, we're gonna undo this little pinch bolt first, which is just holding the two bits of the arm together. Boom, one bolt out. One angle grinder and one nut. Who's gonna come out on top? I think I know who. So we've managed to get the track rod end off, which is really good. I've cut a little bit into the side of the wheel hub here, but I don't think that's going to be fatal. Next thing we need to do is obviously unthread this little end off here, but it's very, very tight. I've had to put some lock-on pliers here. We've got to try and somehow crack the thread and get this part of the arm off. It's going to be a difficult job, but we'll get there somehow. So to wait for the WD-40 to do its thing on the track rod, we're going to take off the drop link, which is 2 bolts, top and bottom. So to get it off, you need to hold it on with a spanner, 17mm spanner on one end, and undo the bolts with a 16mm socket, and that's the drop link off. So I'm struggling to get the track rod end bit off. I can't get the thread to come loose, so I've sprayed a load of WD-40 on it. We'll leave it and bring back, or come back to it tomorrow. Next thing I'm gonna do is take the 2 control arms off. Might need to drop the under tray, first, to get to them, as it looks like that might just be in the way. There we go, that is one under tray off, and this has got like a foam bag or something on it, on obviously the inside of the under tray, which is really interesting. This was not on the 1 Series, but I'm gonna guess this is for the actual like sound absorption of the engine, so obviously it's a diesel, it will rattle a lot, so this is probably sound absorption, but it's pretty interesting, never seen that before. Also a heat shield as well, and we can also look completely at the bottom of the engine. It's pretty clean under here, you know. Hopefully soon we'll be doing a lot more mods to it. Anyway, the reason why we took it off is so we could access the bolts that go through the front control arm and this control arm here, which the under tray was in the way for. Now we've got access to them, we should be able to get both of them off. I'm gonna start with this rear one here, as it is a bit easier to access than the front one, because there's also the inner arch lining in the way for that one. Boom, one nut off, get in. Right, with the bolts for that arm off, next thing I'm gonna do is undo the bolt with this one. I believe there is a fixed nut on the other end, so you shouldn't have to hold it with a spanner on this one. Boom, another bolt out. This is going well, and one arm dropped. Yes! So the next thing to crack is this, what do you call it? The pinch bolt for the wheel hub on the strut. That's the next thing to do. But before we do that, we're also going to loosen the 3 bolts up top and just leave them nipped up so it holds the whole strut up. Because once we undo this, this is all going to be able to be dropped off of the shock. Boom, next nut off. This is just, this is going good. All right, day one is gonna have to end with slight disappointment, but we also did a fair amount, we got a fair way, but I wish we did go a little bit further and get the strut out, but it's okay. What's stopping us is the pinch bolt that goes across is so tight and seized in, I cannot move it or get it out, which is slightly frustrating because that's what I need to get out next. But tomorrow I'm gonna start on this side and try to get this done as much as possible. With it all fresh in the brain, it shouldn't take as long as the other side and we'll be able to smash it out quickly. But let's just head to tomorrow afternoon.
The next day.
Good afternoon then, it is the next day. What we're gonna do first is get this wheel off, and then I think I'm gonna go into some sort of time lapse now of getting this side of the car to be the exact same as the other side. So we're gonna try and get the track rod end off like we did over here, get the control arms off, get this pinch bolt out, which I haven't actually managed to do yet because it got really tight obviously last night. And then we'll see what we can do about this track rod end arm. But yeah, a lot of work to do, not much time to do it. Let's just get to work. So first up was taking the wheel off, and then followed that up by taking the pinch bolt out for the track rod end. Next, I took off the drop link and I cracked the bolt and took the nut off for the pinch bolt on the wheel hub. I then got the angle grinder out and cut the nut in half for the track rod end. And then finally took the 2 bolts out for both control arms, dropping them to the floor. I also attempted to take the pinch bolt out for the wheel hub, but just like the driver's side, it was seized on. Right, we have picked up the pace today. No messing around at all. We're the exact same bit now, you could say, as we're on the other side. We need to get this pinch bolt out, which is really bloody tight once again. And we need to take this end of the track rod end off. And then once we've taken, once we've taken that pinch bolt out, we can then drop the wheel hub off the shock. Then we can put the new coilovers in. But we gotta get these out and they're very bloody tight and it's just becoming a little bit difficult. So to make it seem like we're still making progress, what we're gonna do is loosen the 3 nuts on the top mounts up right now. The reason why we're going to do that is it just allows this to be a little bit more free, and hopefully we can get this pinch nut or pinch bolt out, should I say, and we can just drop this off. It's getting difficult to get it out. I'm not sure what it is. They're possibly a death bolt, which are like stupidly hard to get out, as Matt Armstrong calls them anyway, but we're going to try everything to get them out and go from there. So if I remember correctly, these should just be 13mm nuts. Yeah, they are. So if we just give it slight loosening. Oh, these ones are tight. And then the one under there, we're gonna have to do with a spanner. But what I'm gonna do is take 2 completely off and leave 1 just on, as then it means, like I said, it should just be slightly more loose, a bit easier to work with, and it's still gonna be held up because it will still be on one of the nuts. It's just something I think I've seen people do before. Yeah, that's one side done. Let's do this side. Yeah, both sides nice and loose. Now with that finished, the next thing that we need to do is obviously get these pinch bolts out. Christ, God knows how we're gonna do this. Let's find a way. Progress, progress, progress. Oh, so we thought. This pinch bolt we have managed to, well, we haven't got it out, but as you can kind of see, the wheel hub is dropping off anyway. So what we're gonna do is wedge something into this gap here, try and open it up ever so slightly, because this is loose. This should be able to open up a little bit, and then we might be able to just drop this off without having to take that bolt off, which would be really quite helpful actually. So we're gonna give that a go. And then if that goes well, we should be able to take this shock absorber out. Fingers crossed, but we're not going to be recording it because someone is helping me who doesn't want to be on camera, but that's absolutely fine. I'll just give you updates with how it goes after each bit we do. All right, update then. We have made really good progress now. So we've got this strut out on this side, but we didn't get the pinch bolt out because it was just far too tight, but we managed to get it off anyway. We're now just trying to get the track rod apart because we obviously need to get the new ones on because of how messed up the ends are here. That's proven difficult. But we've done the exact same on the other side. As you can see, struts out, and this pinch bolt didn't come out. That's absolutely fine. We're just trying to get the track rods apart. But once we've done that, we can set up the new coilovers, get them on the car, and then we can put everything back together, and we should be done with the front suspension. It's going very good. I'm surprised how well it's going. This is all just knowledge when I did my 1 series. I'm not searching up anything, just going off what I know. To be fair, I'm pretty proud of myself, doing really good. But let's just keep on moving here and get this done, hopefully not tonight because we're running out of daylight, maybe tomorrow. Right then, final update for day 2. I feel like something straight out of like a horror movie, you know, we'll be under the bed sheets telling each other ghost stories now. But so here we are. We have taken off, as you can see, the full track rod from the right hand side of the car because we couldn't get it apart. So there it is in the garage. We've ordered a brand new tie rod and those rubber boots, so we'll be able to pick that up tomorrow, fit that. And then tomorrow we'll be able to put the new shock in and put everything back together on this side. And then on the passenger side of the car, obviously we managed to get the track rod off of the tie rod, which is perfect. Oh God, don't fall over. And then tomorrow we'll be able to screw that new one back on and do the exact same by putting the shock in and putting this all back together. So fantastic progress made for day 2. I'm really, really happy with this. Let's tidy up and I'll see you tomorrow. Good afternoon then, it is day 3 and we're back, and Eurocar parts came in clutch. We've got that little gator boot there as well as the track rod, which is perfect. So we'll be able to put all of that back together in just a minute. First thing we're going to need to do then is put this track rod assembly together. So we're going to take off this little plastic bit here, and this thread should wind up into the track rod end here. We're going to try and line it up roughly to be the same as one that we took off, because obviously this has got the correct tracking on, so hopefully it should line up correctly, but we'll probably need a wheel alignment afterwards. So with the gator now set up, it's not all the way up, but I reckon I'll be able to pull that on once it's on the car and obviously put the clips on. But what we're now going to do is wind on the track rod end onto this track rod, and hopefully, like I said, get this somewhat lined up with the original part. Okay, so where that is right now, that's pretty good. I mean, it's a little bit loose, but as soon as we put this pinch bolt on through here, this should pull it tighter. But that is pretty much in line with the old one. Fingers crossed our tracking is on point. We'll see though. I don't reckon it will be, but that's just the way it goes. So with the new track rod set up, what we're going to do is try and thread this onto the rest of the steering rack now. This shouldn't be too hard. Now we're just going to tighten this up as hard as I can against the steering column. Go on, you! There we go. That is as tight as I'll probably be able to get that. And what we can now do is put this gator boot over the top and put the clip on. All right, so I'm struggling to get that little rubber gator back over the steering rack itself. So for now, what I'm going to do is work on this side of the car. So all we need to do is just wind on this track rod end, and then I can actually put all of this back together by putting in the shock and the wheel hub on and the arms and everything. Then we get this side back together. So I'm going to do that first, get this side all together and get back on the driver's side. So I just pop the front coilover in off camera. There it is, hanging, looking wonderful actually. It's quite loose though, because obviously you need to tighten these up to spec now. So I'm going to quickly research it, see what they get torqued up to, tighten them up. So after a little bit of research, these nuts are done up to what looks like 34 Newton meters. I don't have a torque wrench that does 34 Newton meters, so we're just going to have to settle for 40, which is a little bit over, but I'm sure that will be absolutely fine and shouldn't affect how the suspension is on the car. There, all done, torqued up to spec and on. This is what it looks like now. Let's get the wheel hub over the top of this, and then we can put everything back together. Big milestone moment then. We got the wheel back on this side suspension, completely back together. That didn't take very long, maybe about an hour or so to do the whole thing. But yeah, you can see it, my wheel is quite buckled. You can also see where there's flat spots in it. Let me just find them right here, look at that. That's gonna be round. Looks more like a square. You can really feel it when you drive along. It's like boom, 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 boom. Wow, it's not boom, boom, that's exaggerating. You're not even looking at me, hello. But that doesn't matter, because now what we need to do is put this side back together. We've got to finish off the track rod on this side to start with before we do anything else. So let's crack on with that, and then we should be able to put the strut tower in, or the strut in, should I say, and get everything finally back together. So we have lost daylight again. If the picture quality is really bad, I've had to up the ISO on my camera, meaning it's letting more light in, which damages picture quality, but we'll just have to deal with it. Unfortunately, we've not managed to get everything back together, but I am not gonna stop, because I'm gonna get this back together off camera. But as I'm obviously losing light, we're not going to film this. I'll just show you the finished product tomorrow with how the car's sitting and obviously how the wheels are looking. Fingers crossed I get this done. We're not too far away, because I've already got that control arm in. Need to get the other one in, do this pinch bolt up, get the what's called track rod on, and then we should be good to go with the wheel. But catch back in with you tomorrow.
The next day.
So it is the 4th and final day, and I did get the car back together. It's actually been a couple of days since I last recorded because I went away for the weekend, and it is now a new week. I didn't get my video out when I wanted to, which I'm really annoyed myself for, and I'm really sorry for doing that. But my car is undrivable. It is not in good shape at all. This suspension did not go as I expected. Just look at this fitment. It is awful. A lot of people might actually quite like this with it being really low, but it is not for me at all. It just looks shocking in my opinion. Yes, I can full lock the car and I can drive it, but I cannot drive it properly. I mean, this would be cool as a show car, but on the road and practicality, it is not there. It is just absolutely shocking. I hate it so much. So yeah, I feel like I've ruined my car doing this. It doesn't look good, it's not practical, I can't really drive it now because of it, and I think I've also created a leak at the same time. I think it's a water leak, whether I cracked the pipe or not, I don't know. So going forward, I think I'm just gonna have to put the original suspension back on the car, and I'm gonna get some brand new wheels, not second-hand ones with cracks this time, some brand new ones, fit them on the car, and then go forward from there with the suspension. Because yeah, this is just not gonna work. I hate how the fronts look. The rear is perfect. It looks so good, the fitment does on the rear, but the fronts, I'm not having that. I hate it, it's shocking. So yeah, I feel like I've wasted a lot of money and a lot of time with this, but you live and you learn. We'll go forward from here and hopefully not make the same mistake again. Good afternoon, everybody. The BMW 3 Series is back, or my BMW 3 Series, should I say, to be exact. And it has been a very long time since you've had it on the channel now, probably around about a month. And you'll know that the last time we worked on the car, I ended up ruining my front suspension, or so I thought, because what I actually did was completely stupid. Let me give you a quick recap and I'll show you exactly what we're going to do to fix it. Last time out with the BMW 3 Series, I attempted to change the front suspension to the brand new coilovers I got for my car. Let's get the front suspension finished on my 3 Series. And whilst doing that, I had to change both track rods as I actually damaged the track rod ends. We obviously need to get the new ones on because of how messed up the ends are here. But when I actually finished the job and brought the car back down, it was sitting far too low. Just look at this fitment, it is awful. And I thought I had adjusted the coilovers correctly, but as you're about to find out, I was completely wrong. So there you go, you now know that what we did was slam the front of the car far too low to the ground and literally have it sitting on its absolute, I'm not going to say the word because I don't want it to be censored, but you get the idea. So this week we're going to be fixing the suspension entirely because I've got a few things I need to do to the rear suspension to fix that as well. And then we've also got a bit on my door, look, I'll show you, on the driver's side door to fix. This thing here has dropped into the door, so we need to take the door card off and fix that. And then finally we've got a brand new turbo to fit to the car. So we'll do that at the end of the video last because I think that's going to be the biggest job. I just want to get the easy bits out of the way first. So let me just quickly show you how I've already got my front suspension back to being all right like this. Some of the footage is corrupt, so I'll show you the bits I have done and try and fill in the bits that are corrupt. I thought I had ruined the suspension on my car as it is sitting ridiculously low. But thanks to you guys, you've let me know, but I just don't know how to set up coilovers, and that's because I'm not a mechanic, I'm just learning as I go. First up then, we got the car up in the air and we took the front wheel off. So here is how I went wrong. You can see these are the adjusters right here, and they're as low as they can possibly be. They're meant to be up higher because this spring here, basically having it as low as it can possibly be, allows this to compress and therefore the car comes down. So if I have this, well, if I have these adjusters brought up, it therefore means the car gets brought up. It's a really rubbish explanation, but basically all I need to do is wind this up and put the wheel back on until I'm happy with the fitment. So as I said then, you guys helped me out in the comments, as one of you said I need to wind it up 14 threads from the bottom. So I did just that, put the wheel back on and brought the car back down. Yes! Come on! That is so much better. Thank you guys for letting me know about this. I'm gonna do the other side now. And this is the bit of footage that got corrupt. I did adjust the other side, I got it all on camera, but the footage is now gone. So I'm just gonna pass back to me now, where you guys can see the final fitment a couple weeks after I did this job. Yep, so it was coilovers just not adjusted the correct way in the end. I am silly, aren't I? I thought the way I had it before was obviously going to be its highest point, but because there's no compression on the spring, like to keep it tight, the car just dropped all the way down. But now we've adjusted it up, it's sitting absolutely perfectly. I really do like the fitment now. It looks epic. But as some long-time subscribers will know, when we did the rear suspension, there were some bits that needed to be changed eventually because I didn't change them in the video. And they were, I think, some of the guide support bits, and I've basically got them over here in the garage in these boxes just here. So what we're going to do is get one wheel off at a time, just do them because that should be a really quick and easy job as they're only on the shock absorber. So what I was on about then in terms of like the bits that need changing is up here just above the bump stop you've got like this little metal cap and then this like rubbery cap, and then you've got like another guide support which goes up into the boot, which is up behind these trims and stuff up here, and that is what I need to replace because I didn't do it when I did the rear suspension. And that little metal cap's on top of the bump stop is really rusty, basically falling apart. Once I get it off, I will show you to you and explain exactly what I mean. So the next thing I did was strip out all of the interior bits inside the boot so I could access the top guide support on the shock absorber. And that is the boot completely stripped apart then. Next thing we need to do is take off this little cap over here, and under there is the top of what is the shock absorber out here. So we need to undo that top guide support. It's I think if it's like a 17 or a 16 mil nut, you need a pass-through ratchet or a spanner, and then you need like a special tool to hold the top of the shock absorber so it doesn't spin. Exactly what I just said, but with a 15 mil spanner instead. So this is the old guide support that we had on the car. Well, this is the new one that we put on, should I say. And you see it's been pulled through the bottom ever so slightly. You can kind of see in that bowing that's on the bottom of it. I don't think it should be like that, meaning that the issue probably was something to do with what's under here. So with that guide support removed, you should be able to pull the bottom of the shock absorber down now. There we go. So this is the bits we need to replace. We're going to keep this bump stop as it's relatively new, but everything that's above the bump stop, that's what's getting replaced. Here we are then, this is what we had on the car. So we had this top guide support, we had this one that was under it which I didn't replace, this metal cap, I told you, look at that, pretty much rusted through, and then this little rubber grommet which goes over the top of that. All of this is being replaced by this kit in here. So we've got brand new parts all round to put on the car. So let's get these back on the exact same way that we had these on, and then yeah, we should be good to go with putting everything back together this side. The assembly for those top parts of the shock absorber goes as followed. It was the metal cap and then the guide support, the rubber cover to go over the top of it, and then that gets pushed up into the top of the boot, and then the top guide support mounts it all together. Well, that took a bit longer than what I expected, but we've now got this side completely changed, and the new guide support is in there as well. So I'm just going to quickly put this side back together and do this side as well, but we'll just catch back with you once it's all done. So I haven't actually quite finished the other side yet, but if you're questioning why I'm doing this job, this is the answer why. Just taking it off, and yeah, look at the state of that. This is exactly why we're doing this. This one was really rusty as well, as you can see, and yeah, that must have just popped right off. Fantastic. I'm glad we are doing this, because hopefully now, I don't know what that's going to change, but you don't want that on the car. And there we go, we are now all back together with the rear of the car. Both sides of the suspension now should be pretty good. We've changed everything, so front suspension, all of it's been changed pretty much, except obviously the arms and bits and bobs like that. All the rear suspension stuff's been changed as well, so hopefully the car now will be riding pretty good. It does anyway, I can tell you that for a fact, but yeah, suspension complete, really happy with that. The next thing we need to do is obviously fix this little door problem. I can't imagine this is going to be too difficult of a job, so all we need to do is just get the door card off, and then I think we need to just pop this back into the motor that puts it up and down, and then put the door card back on. But yeah, let's do that now. To start, we need to just pop this panel that sits along the main part of the door off first. There we go. Next is a couple of crossheads which sit in these gaps right here, and then the door card should come off. So there's now 3 bolts which sit up behind that panel we just took off. They're T20s. Now we've done that, we should be able to pull this off away from the door. Just be very careful with it. There's a load of electrical connectors in the back. So the bit we're concerned about is this here that's dropped off. So this is meant to be sat in, oh, if I can find it. Oh, is it on the door? Here you go. It's meant to be sat in this little thing here, and it's meant to be clipped in tightly. And I think what happened is it just came off. It wasn't in as tight as what it was meant to be, and therefore it fell off the door. But yeah, we're going to fix it back into place now, and hopefully it will not come off after that. So with that in properly, we can now get the store card back on. Just be careful, just not break any clips. We're going to put the bolts back on. Right, let's just test to see if this is working. Hopefully it is. Yes, yes, easy fix. I knew it would be. It just fell off just like I thought it had. Sweet, we've got that back working. Just need to put that panel back on quick. Sweet, there we go. We have got one last thing that we need to do this week, and that is the new turbo on the car. So the turbo that we're going to be putting onto my car has been sent out to us by Max Speed and Rods, and they're who have sponsored today's video. Right, before we start any work then on obviously changing that turbo over, what I'm going to do is just show you what it's like before, because it really does drone and it sounds horrific. You hear that sort of noise? That is the turbo droning. So yeah, it's an issue that we're gonna have to fix, but obviously that's what the new turbo's for. There you go. That's how loud it can get. It doesn't sound good at all. Okay, so now we all understand the issue. It's time that we actually get to fixing it. So what we're gonna need to do is take off this front plastic cover here and the air box first, as well as the air mass sensor. So off that comes, and then yeah, that bolt there, that one, and then there's two along the front here. Remove all of that, and we'll go on to the next bit. Hoodies off, t-shirts out. It's got really warm in the sun, but yeah, so we've taken these bits off like we needed to. Next we need to get off this breather pipe, which looks like it's just clips and then kind of pulls back like that. And then we've got to take off that little bolt. Oh, you see it just there? Yeah, we'll take that off, and then there's a clip down at the bottom, kind of down here where my hand is, which if we push down, which I think I might have just done already, this pipe here, you see this one right here that's feeding air from the airbox into the turbo, that is exactly what comes off next. Well, I accidentally just snapped the breather pipe from here off of the feed pipe into the crankcase, or the rocker cover. It's like a crankcase breather pipe, I think, or something like that anyway. I snapped it by accident. So we ordered a new one. We'll get it tomorrow, which is fine because we won't be probably putting this back together until tomorrow, because this is quite a big job. In the meantime, what we need to do is undo that little bolt there and take this pipe off. Ah, there we go. That's come off. Yeah, there's a bit of oil in this pipe. Don't know if that's a bad thing. Maybe the turbo, well, the turbo definitely is on its way out, but you can see that clip now that we took off. You can see how it works as well. If you just push it down like so, like that, you see it comes off, and then to put it back on, clips back up like that. But yeah, there's that pipe off. Pretty nice. We can also see into the turbo now as well. I can't tell if there was a issue with it. It's definitely not seized because it spins quite nicely, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be loose. Seems to all be spinning okay, but yeah, it's a good job we changing this anyway, because who wants a stock turbo? So the next thing I did is I removed the electrical connector for the wastegate, which is also got the mass airflow sensor on, so we can just move these out the way. There we go, they're out the way. I think next I want to remove the two bolts that are actually holding the wastegate up. I'm not quite sure what this cable is, but it's kind of just here in the way. I'm just gonna see if we can move that a little bit. But yeah, these two bolts here, which hold the wastegate up, and then we should be able to drop that off sideways. But I do believe that it will be connected to the turbo, at least a little bit that actuates the wastegate and stuff. It'll be connected to that. So yeah, let's get those two nuts off quickly, or bolts should I say. that's those 2 bolts removed, and yeah, I was correct. This is connected to the wastegate on the turbo. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, it's a bit dark, but yeah, I'll put an arrow on the screen now. You can see where it's connected to the turbo. There it is, right there. The bolts we need to get to next then are behind this heat shield in here. So there's a bolt there, and I believe there's another one at the back. That should come off. We also want to take off the intercooler pipe down here. I think it's the same sort of clip that held this pipe on, so we could drop that out and then yeah, get that heat shield off as well. Okay, so I am struggling to get the intercooler pipe off because the little metal clip is held in by 2 plastic inserts on either side, so struggling to get that off, but I've got the heat shield off and I've also undone the exhaust clamp down there. Next thing we need to do is take off these 3 bolts, 1, 2, and then there's another one back there, and that should be the turbo free after that. So yeah, pretty good going at the moment. It's got dark yet again. I mean, it always does, doesn't it, when we do something like this, especially with it getting really dark really early now. We need to get lights and set things up a bit better, but we have actually got the turbo out. Look at that. I can't believe I managed to do that after about an hour of running around. We've actually got our hands on a double hex socket set, which is exactly what we needed, and yeah, we've managed to get the turbo out. This is such a big achievement. Honestly, I can't believe I've done this. But in February this year, I would have never touched a car like I have. Questionable what I just said, but no, it's crazy. I can't believe I've just removed a turbo from my car with no mechanic experience or qualifications or anything. I literally just do it on my own. It's like crazy. I can't believe this. This was actually a really straightforward job as well. Obviously we took the airbox off to start with, then we took like that panel off there, the engine cover, then took the air pipe off, we got the intercooler pipe off and everything, and then all it was at the bottom, there was that bracket right there, and then that oil feed. I actually think that's an oil return. Those were just 3 bolts on the bottom. And then there was that just there, that's a oil, I think that one is the oil feed. That was sat in the top of the turbo. And then obviously the 3 bolts that are underneath this heat shield now. That's all that was holding it on. So really not that complicated, but yeah, tomorrow is the complicated job. Getting the turbo back in, as well as these parts right here. So we've got a new oil return pipe, new exhaust bracket, and loads of new bolts and everything. And we've got loads of bolts over here and stuff at the moment. And yeah, it's all a little bit of a mess. But tomorrow we'll get this all back together, and then we'll start the car and see if it works. But let's just get to tomorrow where we fit the turbo again. What work did we actually get done last night? Obviously we got the turbo out. Here's what's left of inside the engine now. So we've got all the bolts back in place for where they need to go. And we've got an empty engine bay down there. And this is the old turbo right here. We've got the wastegate to take off, we've got that heat shield to take off, I think that is it. And then we've got the brand new turbo from Max Speeder Rods right here. It looks phenomenal, looks really, really nice. Pretty much the exact same turbo. It is a stock one, it's not an uprated one or anything like that. So this should just be the exact same power output as what we had before. But maybe we get it tuned in the future and see if we can push it a little bit, and then possibly upgrade the turbo in the future if we need to. But for now, this is going to be a perfect like-for-like replacement, and I'm really happy with it. And the first thing we need to take off this old turbo is obviously the wastegate, which is these 2 bolts, and then it's also held on the lever just here. So basically when you let your foot off the accelerator, it will push this lever and basically dump all the air out of the turbo to stop it basically feeding air into the engine when it doesn't need any. So we have to find out how to do that, but I know these 2 bolts remove it from the main body of the turbo just like that. And yeah, now what we need to do is find out how you take this off. So I'm struggling to get that wastegate off, so what I'm going to quickly do is just remove this heat shield and get it installed onto a new Max Speeder Rod turbo. There we go then, that is the heat shield installed. So if I pop off this cap just here, looks like there's a O-ring which you need to just slide on. And I've got a whole new kit here from BMW with everything that needs to be changed when changing a turbo. And yeah, we have got that gasket in here, so we'll put that on next. Here it is, let's just pop that over. Lovely. Right, we've got that new gasket on. O-ring, should I say, not gasket. I know how you take the wastegate off. So there's a little clip which just needs to basically be pulled up and out the way, and then it should come off. Okay, all we need to do is just tighten these down, and then we should be good to go with this. Okay, that is the new turbo built, but before we do get it in, I've just realised we need to get this oil line in, which sits underneath the turbo and bolts up into it, so that is our next job. Okay, that was a tough job, but thank you very much to my dad. A massive shout out to him. Big up Father Bryant. He helped me get the turbo in, and there it is, in place. What we now need to do is get everything else back on. So we need to get like the oil line on, or the oil feed, the oil return. We need to get the bottom bracket on, the intercooler pipe, and just everything back on the front, and then we'll be all done. So we're gonna start working at getting all this back together, and then we'll try the new turbo out. Fingers crossed it works. Update then. So we have got the oil feed pipe on, we've got the bracket underneath on, we've got the we've got the oil feed pipe mostly on, but I've dropped a few bolts in on the tray, so I'm going to jack the front of the car up, put some jack stands on the side so I can actually get underneath the car, and might be able to get the underpart of the turbo on better, with better access being under the car. I'm not sure, we'll see if that works, but yeah, let's just get the car in the air quickly. So we have made really good progress. We've got both the oil lines on, the top one and the bottom. We've got the bracket on the bottom all tightened up. We got these, obviously 3 bolts on top. They are nipped up, they need to be tightened up. I'm now going to do the exhaust clamp up, these 3 bolts up, and then everything on the front will need to be done. So we need to put the intercooler pipe back on, which is just down there at the moment, and then we can put like the air feed pipe on, the air box on, and then obviously the breather pipe as well. But yeah, we're getting there, nearly done.
Turn up. You better be there when I shake. Watch me rockin' if I can't stop. If I should fall, just go ahead.
Sorry I'm not recording much of this at the moment, guys, but it's because my GoPro's nearly gonna die, and we're running out of daylight, so I'm just trying to focus and get this done as quick as possible. But everything on the turbo is now tight. We've got the first electrical connector back in for the blow-off valve, or I think that's something to do with that, or the wastegate, something like that. I'm not sure, I think that's the wastegate. But next we're gonna put on the air pipe here, which then bolts into the side of the wastegate there, and then the air box is on after that, and then last of all the breather pipe, and then we're pretty much there, and that'll be it all done. So yeah, we're getting real close now. We are all back together then. You probably can't see the car, it's a bit too dark, but yeah, we're back on the floor, everything's together. We've got to start this, and oh, hit the wall. I don't like this. This reminds me of when we did the 1 series that time. Let's turn the lights on, actually, ignition and lights so we can see things. Right, 3, 2, 1. It sounds fine. Dad's saying give it some revs. Sounds good? Dad thinks it might be sounding all right. Let's go have a little look. You think it sounds okay? Yeah. Oh, no, music's come on. I mean, I won't know until I drive the car. Hey,
nothing sounds loose, nothing sounds clanky. Yeah, it's just something's not fitting correctly. All sounds.
Let's check if it's leaking any oil. Ooh, smoky a bit. Oh, here we go. Dad's gonna give the car a few revs. No, that's pretty good. Whoa. That's loud. That sounds sweet. That sounds really good. We changed the turbo successfully. We did that, guys. We literally just changed the turbo all by ourselves. Little to no mechanic experience, even 7-8 months ago. How insane is that? Oh, come on. I'm so gassed with that. We literally just changed the turbo on my car. Get in. It sounds sweet. I mean, we'll go on a drive tomorrow morning when it's lighter. just to find out, but that sounds really good. But it would seem as though we've got a slight smoke or air leak. We'll find out what that is.
Could be any one of these.
It could be. I've changed all of this, so all of these O-rings, everything, all the gaskets, a lot of it. First time for doing it though, we've done pretty good. And yeah, big shout out to my dad for getting the turbo in the car. What can you say, eh? Just that good. Genius. Right, we're gonna leave it there for tonight. That seems like job well done. Gonna go on a drive. Well, I'm gonna go on a drive now, but you won't be able to see anything because it's too dark. But yeah, I'll catch back with you tomorrow morning where we'll actually on a drive on video and yeah, see if the turbo has made a difference. But yeah, catch you guys in the morning. Good morning, everyone. I have pretty much just crawled straight out of bed and straight into my car because we want to test this out now. She started up absolutely fine. We're here in the middle of my road, ready to go on a drive. Hopefully we've got boost and hopefully the turbo is working fine. We don't have any leaks or anything. We're going to test that all out now. Let's get going. Here we go then. We still have the droning noise. So the problem is obviously not the turbo. I have no clue where this droning noise is coming from. If it's not the turbo, I don't know what it is. Right, let's give it some beans. Yeah, we're still droning. I don't know why we're still droning. I don't know if the car feels slower though as well. It might be. It doesn't seem like it's got the sort of pickup that it had before. So what do you think is causing my engine to drone, guys? You hear that? Please leave your suggestions down below because now I really don't know. I thought it was the turbo, but clearly it's not the turbo. What could it be? Please help me out down below. So there we go. We know that has not fixed our issue. It is still droning. We have no clue why, but at least the turbo's working and giving us boost and doesn't seem to have any faults. Good afternoon, everybody. We're starting this week with some good news and some bad news. The bad news being Harry's BMW 3 Series has broken down. We think it is the starter motor, and I believe it's blown up because when I plug a diagnostic tool in, it does say that there is a faulty starter motor on the car. And when you try and turn the engine over by starting it, it literally doesn't move. So it could either be seized or, like I say, the starter motor. That is best case scenario. But that's not our problem this week. Because the good news is my BMW 3 Series is back, and I think we've found out the reason as to why it is droning when accelerating. You guys said about wheel bearings. Here's literally all of your guys' comments about them. And we've got some new front wheel bearings to put on the car today. And then I got my car booked in for the 10th of December at BMW to get rear wheel bearings installed. And then fingers crossed after that, we'll have no more droning issues. Hopefully. So we've got my car in the garage, and the first thing we're going to do is fix this mirror here. You can see it's all smashed up and dirty from when I accidentally cracked it a while back, and I've got a new one to replace this. We just need to take it out, take off the electrical connector on the back and put the new one in. Well, it appears the mirror that is meant to be for my car is not for my car. Let me explain why. So on my old mirror, it was a little electrical connector and plug, just like this, plugged in to this right here on the mirror, and the new one that I've got is not like that. Instead, it's two electrical pins there, which that's not going to work. But I think for now what I will do is just clip this mirror on in place anyway, because it's not a smashed mirror. It's going to be a lot safer than having the smashed one. I have to order a new one and put that on, but that's really frustrating. There, all installed. We need to just give that a wipe for microfiber cloth to get all my fingerprints off, but it looks really nice because they're actually frameless mirrors. Well, this one's a frameless mirror that I picked up anyway. Just annoying about that electrical connector, but at least I know now I've got not a smashed mirror on my driver's side. So with that mirror glass now replaced, we need to work on these front wheel bearings. And I know you guys were hating me in the last video for putting on a Chinese turbo on the car, and you said I got Chinese suspension and stuff. Well, you're gonna be proud of me today. So I've gone out and got the best of the best. We've got some Bilstein front wheel bearings to replace these old ones that are on the car, and it's just shy of 120,000 miles, and I reckon these haven't been changed. If they are the issue, great, we can do that. If they're not the issue, then hopefully when the car goes into BMW on the 10th of December and they do the rear wheel bearings, which we've also got Billstone ones for, fingers crossed that'll fix our issues. But right now I only have the tools to do the front ones, which is why I'm not going to do the rear ones myself. These should just be a bolt off and bolt on job, but it's something I've never done before, so we're just going to give it a go, and hopefully it all goes to plan and we have great success. Also, one more thing about lighting, I have put up 2 more lights in here. I need to just get a few more along that wall there, some along the back, and then a couple more stronger ones up top, and I think we'll be all right for lights in here. But yeah, I did read all you guys' comments, and I do need to get more lights, definitely. It is coming, just it's money, and I don't have much money, so you're just gonna have to bear with for a couple of weeks maybe. So to begin with then, I say you strap in and buckle up, because this was way harder of a job than I anticipated it to be. But I started by cracking all the bolts from my front wheels, jacking the car up and dropping it on some stands. So that is now the car jacked up and on some stands. Next thing I'm gonna do is take the front right wheel off. I think I'm gonna start on this side because I've got a little bit more space. And then once I've got the wheel off, I'll show you exactly what we need to do next. Alrighty, so with the wheel off, we need to now get the brake caliper off and the brake disc itself. And the brake caliper, I think, is held on with 2 bolts from behind, and then the brake disc is held on by that 1 bolt just there. Once I remove the 2 of them, the what's it called, wheel bearing will be right in front of us, and it's 4 bolts behind that to get it off. So let's get the caliper off first, which is a job I've never done, and then we'll get the brake disc off. Brake disc after, which is also a job I've never done, so wish me luck. Removing the caliper and the disc is actually a really straightforward job. That's like beginner mechanic sort of job. It was just 2 bolts on the back of the caliper. I believe that was held on the caliper bracket, I think, onto the knuckle, and then you can just pull the whole thing off in one go, and make sure to hang it on something or stand it up on something. I used a jack stand because you do not want to hang this on the brake hose. And then after that, it was just a 6mm Allen key to take off that 1 bolt, and then the brake disc just pulled straight off. These are slightly heavy, so if you're doing this for the first time, just be aware that you might accidentally drop it, because you might not realize that these weigh a couple of kilo. But if you're experienced in this field, you'll know that this is just a very straightforward and easy job. That is the first time I've ever removed a caliper or a brake pad. That is pretty cool. But this is the state of the bearing. Do you guys reckon, because that's not spinning freely, I'm not sure if it's meant to be, and it stops quite soon, do you reckon maybe this is an issue? I mean, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's not a good sound. It's quite like scratchy, almost sounds like it's rubbing. But there's 4 bolts on the back of here now that we need to remove and get that off. Oh, I can't believe we did that. Get in. With the brake disc and the brake caliper out of the way, then I could start working actually getting the bearing off of the knuckle. As you can see from this shot now, there was 4 bolts, so I was holding it on from behind. They all had 18mm heads, which I just put a socket on with my ratchet, and my god, these things were the tightest bolts I have ever undone in my life. Put it this way, I started doing this at about 6 PM, getting these bolts out at 6 PM. I wasn't done until gone midnight. I am struggling so bad right now, honestly. I'm gonna check these 3 out though, which is really good. But oh my god, my hand's killing. Look, normal skin color, hand skin color right now. Killing. Honestly, just pulling down this ratchet is killing my hand. But 3 out. I think to get that last one out though, I have to drop the knuckle here. So I've got to undo this and then drop the knuckle, and then be able to get it out. Oh, let's just keep going. I think I'm going to use this bit of my video, you know. Okay, it's quite a lot later in the evening, and we've had accidents, we've had stress, almost tears, but just we have got the front right bearing off finally. We've got 2 more bolts on the front left to get off, but before I do that, because they are the hardest bolts I've ever removed in my life, we are going to get the front right bearing back on with the brake pad, the brake caliper and the wheel. Then that is this side of the car done. But oh man, this has been a very long night, and it's only about to get longer. Let's keep on going. Spirits are high because I've done this now, but my god, I'm in pain, I'm tired, and I just want to get this done. But we'll keep going. All my lights are dying too, so it's not looking good, Brev, but let's keep going. So as you can see, we got all 4 of the bolts out, and we've now got to put the new bearing on, which we have got. over here. We've got the headlights on right now just to actually get light in here, because we've got that light on, all the others are dead, which doesn't help. But this is the new Bilstein wheel bearings that we have got. These better be worth it, because this job has literally taken every single part of my will and want and everything to just keep on going. It's taking my spirit, it's taking everything. So this better be the right one, and this better fix everything, all the problems. Just, yeah, I'm so tired, I don't even know what to say. Let's just get this back on. It just lines back up with how this one went on, and then it's the 4 bolts. And then we can put everything else back together after. I'm just going to stop talking and do this. So let's get going. That's the Bilstein wheel bearing unboxed then, and lucky for me it was the correct front wheel bearing, and I'm so glad that it was, because with history on this channel, things that we buy tend to not fit first time, but thankfully these did. So it's back on with the new front wheel bearing and the 4 18mm bolts in the back, and luckily they went in a lot easier than how they came out. Once in, I torqued them up to 110 Newton meters, and then I jacked up the knuckle and tightened up the pinch bolt which held the knuckle onto the shock absorber, once again torquing this up to spec. Then the dust shield went on, which was just 4 10mm bolts, and then the brake disc with that one little 6mm Allen key bolt. This was quite difficult to do up there as there was no brakes on the front as of yet. The disc was just wanting to spin, so I had to hold it with one hand and do it up with the other. And then the caliper went back on, which was quite tight at first to get on, but as soon as it sat on top of the disc, it was fine to slide in, and then put the 2 bolts on the bracket which held it in place. And then finally the wheel. Oh, we've got one side done. What an achievement. Okay, just gotta finish up the other side now. After finally getting the driver's side back together, I got on with the passenger side, and this was no different. The bolts were just as seized and as tight as they were on the driver's side. Just have a look at this little clip here. This is just to show you how tight they were, and I know you're gonna say, why didn't I use a breaker bar? It just wouldn't fit. So yeah, pretty damn tight. And the reason that I was lying on the floor was actually for leverage, so that when I'm pushing up against the ratchet, I'm pushing myself into the floor, and therefore I could use more strength and basically push through with my entire body. It was an absolute killer, and I am in like just so many aches and pains now from this job. I hope to never ever do it again. But I did get there in the end, and I got the wheel bearing off, and I got the new one straight back on with those 4 bolts again. And this time I put the dust shield on next with those 4 10mm bolts, following it up by getting that knuckle up in the air and tightening up that pinch bolt, and then getting on that brake disc along with the caliper and doing the caliper bolts up to 110 Newton meters as well. And then finally getting the wheel back on, which was the best feeling ever. The amount of relief that I had in that moment, I genuinely almost was brought to tears. So it has now been 2 days since we changed the front wheel bearings on my BMW 3 Series, and I must tell you that I was absolutely knackered yesterday, like the most tired I've ever felt other than being unwell, just from doing that job. It was an absolute killer, and I hope to never do it again. Those damn bolts, man. So as I've now had 2 days to drive around in the car, I can tell you it has not fixed our issue with the droning. I didn't think it would, because I didn't think it was the front wheel bearings. I was almost certain it is the rear wheel bearings, which I'm getting done, like I say, on the 10th of December at BMW. So in a couple of weeks' time, fingers crossed, we'll have no more droning issue with the car, which if we don't, that would be really, really nice. Good afternoon, everyone. After a short 2-week break, I'm back, and I'm back with a bang. Unfortunately, the reason why I was gone is I've been waiting on parts for the Corsa, which I'm still waiting on. Mind, I ordered it like 2 weeks ago. It'll be 3 weeks ago when this video comes out, with next day delivery, and they're still not here. I am beyond fuming. This video wasn't even meant to happen, but I've ordered these parts, which were meant to come earlier, but they didn't either. It's been an absolute mess the last couple of weeks, but we're back. Let's crack on though, because I've got a few things that I really cannot wait to put on my 3 Series. The reason why I got the back end in here is because I've got some things to go on the back of the car, which hopefully will just make this look so much better. Trust me, It might actually look ridiculous at first, and you'll see why, but it's going to really make this car look so much cooler. So first, over here, we've got a delivery from Carbon Accent. You'll see that actually a little bit later in the video because I've got this here, an eBay Chinese special, which I unboxed for a short and forgot to record it for the main video. But what this is a PSM style lip spoiler, if it will stay standing up, in here to go on the back of the car. This might be overkill because I think these spoilers are quite large, but this is gonna look sick. I'm so excited to get this on. If you remember, I did something like this to the 1 Series. We're now doing it to the 3 Series, but this is a bigger and cooler looking little spoiler to go on the back of the car, which right now is soaking wet. And I've also got some news, which I'll explain later in the video, about this car, because we've had some work done to it off camera as the spoiler falls over. Yeah, I'll explain that later, but first I want to get this spoiler on because this is gonna just look so sick. Right, let's go. So first off, what I'm gonna do is dry up the rear of the boot, because nothing's gonna stick to water, especially Tiger Seal. So give that a quick dry off and a little wipe, make it nice and clean. Then we'll get to fitting the spoiler. Hey at me all you like in the comments for using kitchen towel to dry the back of my boot off. It's all I've got on me down at my garage, so it's just gonna have to do. Yeah, it might scratch the paint ever so slightly, but I'm sure it will be absolutely fine. It's getting covered up anyway, so if you're whining about this, stop whining. There, magnifique. Nice and dry, ready for a spoiler to go on. Here it is then. I've not actually taken it out yet, but let's have a look. This thing feels bulky. Here it is, the spoiler. Let's have a look. We've got the camera up there and the camera over here. Oh, okay. This thing is absolutely massive, but I tell you what, oh, okay, that looks sick. That looks sick. Oh, mate, I think I'm in love with my spoiler, which I shouldn't be, but okay. That looks nasty. That looks sick. Right, all right, okay. Focus up. We need to now get some Tiger Seal on the back of this and then get it stuck in place. But oh, that looks great. That looks so good. That looks so good. Okay, now Tiger Seal, we're gonna just put a load of this on here, flip it over, stick it in place, and hopefully it fits well. So that's a really good and nice amount of Tiger Seal applied. We need to flip this over and get it on. Hopefully we get good fitment too. Moment of truth. Oh, I've put it on really That's pretty solid. I'll give it that. That is on nicely. It looks good. It really does look good. But there's a bunch of Tiger Seal that we need to clean up. Because that's my first time trying that and I hadn't done a great job. There we go then. That is the new lip spoiler put on my 3 Series. It looks pretty sick in all honesty. I actually really do like that. I wasn't sure if I was going to because of the size of it, but tell you what, that is naughty. So while we let that dry on the car, I've now got this package from Carbon Accents to open up. I think this is gonna really make the rear end of this car look so cool. Parcel opened. Inside of this box is another package. This is past the parcel until we get to the right fit. Is there more in here? I think there's more in here. There is. Oh, would you look at that? A thank you from Carbon Accents with a smelly. Thank you very much. So, if you had not guessed already, Carbon Accents, they do a lot of things for a lot of cars. But for my car, this week, we are getting a new rear diffuser for my car. That's not the one I ordered. Brilliant. Carbon Accent sent me the wrong rear diffuser. I did not order a twin exhaust one. As you can see, this won't fit in here because my current exhaust will be like that. That's not going to fit through the hole. Now, I know you guys could say, well, why don't I just DIY it and cut the holes bigger? What's the point where I can just send this one back and get the correct one sent back out? That's really frustrating. I'm actually quite surprised that Carbon Accents have let me down with that. But yeah, that is what it is. I'm just gonna have to send this one back and get the correct one sent back out. That's really frustrating because I literally bought a brand new impact gun since you guys were saying I needed to get one. I was really looking forward to using it, and now I have to wait. You couldn't write this, especially with the Corsa parts, bit like waiting on them, and now all this, yeah. Oh, that's frustrating, but I'm gonna send that one back and we'll get the correct one sent out. Attempt 2. Hopefully this is now the right diffuser. I've gone for a standard single tip diffuser like I've got on the car at the moment, but one that is gloss black and hopefully gonna look so much better than the stock grey one. And here is the brand new diffuser. I've been sent the right one. Get in. And finally, the grand reveal, this is my new diffuser. Yes, they've sent me the right one. Get in. Oh, yes. Now this looks, oh, it looks sick. That looks so nice. This is gonna look so much better than the stock diffuser right now. First things first, we're gonna wanna take off the old diffuser. So let's get all of these bolts undone and get it off. Well, there we go. That's how easy it was to remove the old diffuser. Bolts on the bottom, clips on the top, and off it came, just like that. So, well, that's interesting. That looks pretty cool now without that on. Next thing we need to do is get out one of the rear lights. I'm gonna go for the rear left, and then we need to find a way to wire up the new brake light, or the F1 rain light, which is in the middle of the diffuser, which will sit here onto one of them lights. So let's do that next. So to access this light, I need to strip the boot apart on this side, which means I need to clear out all of this rubbish in here and then lift up all of the trims on the inside. But you've already seen me do it a couple of times before on the channel, so we're just gonna do this. Boot cleared, and we've also got this rear light off here. It was really easy, just 3 nuts we were holding on the back of it, and it came off with the electrical connector. So now what we need to do is get the new diffuser sort of into position and get the electrical wire fed up through this hole here, because the floor is somewhere through this hole. It's quite difficult to see with the camera, but somewhere through there you can see all the way to the floor. So the electrical connector is going to go, or the electrical wire is going to go up into place, then we're going to connect it on this electrical connector here. So let's get that wire up and into the car. So that's the cable now fed up and through, and what I can actually do is put the diffuser on now. So what we're going to do is just slide that cable into there ever so slightly. We actually are now going to get the diffuser on, so let's do that next, and well, we'll kind of see what the car looks like after. Well, the fitment isn't perfect. It's a cheap part, so, and it's aftermarket. It's never going to be perfect, but we can now get the wiring together and try out this light, and hopefully it works. Maybe what I'll do as well at some point is put some panel bond behind these end bits, because they're not sitting right, and that's what is throwing me off a little bit. But for now, it looks decent. Let's get that wired up, and then we'll test it out and go from there. So I've just hardwired up the new light, and we've got the ground cable going into this brown one here, and then we've got the yellow cable going into this far one here. And when I now press the brake pedal, watch what happens. It works, and it looks really, really cool. I've decided to not go for the flashing one because I think that's illegal, and I'd probably get pulled over if I had my car flashing. But as a solid brake light, that looks awesome. Let's get the car back together, get that rear light back on, get the boot back together, and then we can be done here. There we go, we're all back together. Let's now take off this little bit of plastic that's covering the light, There we go. Well, there we go. That is all the work we're going to do to my car this week. A new boot lip spoiler and a new rear diffuser. And to be fair, they both look pretty nice and they work well together as well, because I thought with just the boot lip spoiler and then the grey diffuser, it looked a bit odd, but now both being gloss black, definitely looks so much better. But earlier in this video, I did say that my car has got into the garage and had some work done to it. And if you remember a couple videos back with my car when we changed the turbo, I said that this car's got a horrible droning noise, to which you guys flooded the comments saying that it has got to be a wheel bearing. So obviously we changed the front wheel bearings myself, and the rear wheel bearings, because they're press fit bearings, I was unable to do them. So I sent it into a garage to get them done. And the car is now silent. There is no droning noise whatsoever. It feels like I've got a brand new car. It's just worlds different, and I just can't believe how much better it is. Like, I forgot what it's like to have a car without a droning noise from wheel bearings. It is so much better. I'm about to head onto the motorway, and when I get on there, you'll be able to hear just how quiet my car is. So usually the droning noise on my car would get pretty loud around 40 miles an hour. So now, and all I can hear is tyre noise and engine noise. Oh man, it's so much better. Thank you for saying in the comments it is wheel bearings, because I would have had absolutely no clue about that. And now with the new wheel bearings on, it's like a whole new car. I can listen to music without having to blast out my speakers and pretty much break them. I can drive just peacefully. It's nice. It's really, really nice. If you want to know which one it was the rear left wheel bearing. Yeah, it's just worlds better. It's so much better. One thing I'm thinking of doing as well is getting rid of the wind deflectors, because they make a lot of like a whining noise, which isn't the nicest, especially on the motorway. All I can hear right now is from the wind, and it's a bit annoying. So I might just pull them back off, because then that will go quiet. But yeah, everything this week has been really, really good. I really like the new mods we've done, and finally the car is silent. It's so much better. Going into the new year as well, I'm thinking maybe we get the car mapped at some point, because I now work a second job. If you guys have ever heard of SBD Motorsport, I am now their social media manager, so I do all of their social media stuff. And they've got links with companies, and they might be able to get this car in to be mapped. So maybe in the new year at some point, we get the car mapped, we get it tuned, and yeah, we're pushing better fuel economy, more horsepower, and all that good stuff. But yeah, whilst I just cruise along the motorway to literally go home, we're gonna end the video there. Thank you guys ever so much for watching this week. Have a lovely, lovely Christmas and a wonderful New Year. I will see you on, I'm thinking next Sunday, not Christmas Day, because I've got some other bits coming, hopefully for the Corsa, so we can do that. And that video, yeah, I'll see you guys next week on Sunday. Have a great week. Like I said, a great Christmas. I'll see you on Sunday. Peace out.